Good morning, my brothers. It's good to be in here. Let me turn my light on. There we go. Get some red on the face. Happy Friday, my fellow patriots, my man in the house, man. It's always good to see you in here, brother. And Robert, I got good news for you. I am going to go buy my coffee maker today at Costco. And yes, I will try to get some real coffee. We'll take a look. There is some Starbucks coffee. They do have Folgers. Uh, I don't know what other kind of coffees they have in there, but I'm kind of picky. I'm kind of picky with coffee, but we'll see. What's up, Dub? Welcome to the Dennis Herrera show, where the Patriots put America first, come together and have some conversations that some people on the left might not like or agree with. But nonetheless, we are here to share opinions, watch some live streams, watch some old clips, criticize videos, and of course, have fun when the libtards lose it in the chat. Now, when I set this up, I put in there that people have to, in order for them to actually comment, they have to subscribe. I don't think that works all the time. What's going on, Gecko? Gecko Gill in the house. What is happening here? We're going to watch some Secretary Marco Rubio's remarks. And then we are waiting for the live stream where President Donald Trump is going to make an announcement again at the White House. It seems like the leftists are not satisfied with the announcement, so they're going to make another announcement. I do know by watching my X feed here, it looks like President Donald Trump. Let me take a look. Let's see. It looks like President Donald Trump. Where is it? I saw it in here somewhere. You know what? Give me a second. I got a couple of things to repost. Let me repost this because I'm going to read this in a little bit. Yeah, we're going to repost that as well. And investing $850 million to build a rare earth and critical minerals rail. Oh, here we go. I like that. Okay. Got a couple of things to share there with you. Let me get to my homepage and let me read to you what's happening. I couldn't help it. I had to post. I had to post a picture of the Biden family, and I'll share with you why. Let me take a look at my app on the phone. What the heck happened? I had it ready. Oh, the post is from Benny. It looks like okay. Yeah. Okay, the post is from Benny. And where are you, Benny? Benny. All right, guys. I don't know if you guys already heard this. All right. But here we go. I got some pictures and videos and all the crap that I have set up to the side. Obviously, when I go and look through my pages, you guys can see that. But here is what is happening. Well, let's finish saying hello to the people on the chat. Jorge Perez is back. The Marine Navy, the one-man army, the Mexican raising the flag in L.A. Everybody knows him as Jorge Perez. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back, man. I'm glad that you can take the jokes and all the hits. You know, that's what we're supposed to do, man. That's what we're supposed to do. Let's see. Robert says Dennis is making his nasty Nescafe coffee. Well, today I'm going to disappoint you, my friend, because we are going to be advertising Mickey D's. I got some nasty ass coffee from McDonald's this morning. Went and got some breakfast. My favorite breakfast is always, well, you know, they got the little rubber pancakes on there. But my favorite breakfast is always the sausage and egg and cheese McGriddles. I know. Hey, don't judge. It's not every day that I get to eat this. So today I gave myself a little cheat, okay? And at the same time, just to even out that I'm giving myself a cheat, I got the nasty ass coffee from McDonald's, okay? So there you go, Robert. But I will, you know what? I'm going to make a short little B-roll clip, I think, of making a cup of coffee on the new coffee maker. Okay. Today, after this live, I'm going straight, I'm going straight to Costco to do some Costco shopping, obviously. But I'm going to get the coffee maker and I'm going to grab, I don't know, maybe I'll go crazy and I'll grab maybe two different kinds of coffee just so I can test them. Okay. I know Robert doesn't like Nescafe. Bro, I'll get there, bro. I think I got the clip on there as well. I think I got it already. I haven't seen it, but I think I got the clip. So we'll get into that, brother. Appreciate the chats, man. $2. That gave me a little bit of sweeteners for the coffee. Yes, that's right, Robert. I use sweeteners on my coffee. Let's see. Cool Cabernet. Welcome, welcome, my brother from South California. California, yeah. 108, 108, 101. That was annoying. I apologize, guys. I apologize. Let's see. Who else we got in here? Damn tears taste good. Says Jorge, the footstep soldier. This guy. Oh man, that was a good one, bro. That was a good one. But Jorge Perez, man, he's got some thick skin, guys. He can take it. I like him. I like him. Let's see. Don't go to Costco. They are suing Trump. Listen, they're suing Trump, but I'm not. I'm still gonna shop at Costco, bro. I don't boycott. You think I'm gonna stop buying my Chinese hats? Hell no. The message is delivered, whether it comes from China, which I don't really appreciate, or whether it comes from India, Bangladesh, or whether it comes from the United States of America. It doesn't matter. I'm going to buy what I like and what I want. Listen, if there were murderers, etc., criminal, okay, I understand that, but they can sue, bro. They can sue. Obviously, I don't agree with them because the tariffs things. Yeah, come on, man. These guys they're making money. Okay, they're making money. I think they're just suing because they buy so many fake noodles from China, and from other Asian countries that I can see why. But let them fight it out, brother. You and me, we are going to get what we want. We are going to take advantage of this fight. I use Costco for my gas, etc. So it's all good. Loretta says, hey, Dennis, Eddie McDonald's, you're a brave man. Hey, man, like I said, today was cheat day. Today was cheat day. Why are they suing Trump? Tariffs, my friend, tariffs. It's all good. Billy the Kid, I don't know. You move around, says Jorge. Man says they always come after Donald J. Trump, whether or not they have a reason. That is true, man. But you know what? Whatever, man. I mean, listen, the way that Trump talks, I'm not going to excuse him. I agree with him, but I'm not going to excuse it. I talk the way I talk in my show. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. I think Costco is okay, man. I think Costco is okay. I pay $115, $120 for the yearly membership. And I'm getting back like $270 something dollars, in return. So technically, I really don't pay for the membership because Costco's got the cheapest gas. It runs good in my car, so I don't have a problem with that. And I really like a lot of the bulky items. I like that. But they also have enough single items, and they do have good return policy on electronics, etc. Come on, let's be honest. Nobody really does it like Costco does it. So I got to give them some credit. You know what I'm saying? There's a TV. If the TV has, 1 or 2 years manufacturer warranty. If you get the extended warranty on it, you get up to 5 years. TVs normally will go out within 1 or 2 years. That is the life expectancy of a TV. And Costco is very good, man, at replacing them. So, I think it's a win-win. And if you're not satisfied with something at Costco, I never have them give me crap about returning an item that I'm not happy with. Okay, so I got to give them that. All right, let's go ahead and get into the first reading here. Not the crackhead family. Here we go. Check this out, guys. Let's see. Is that big enough for you guys to read there? Let me try to make this window a little bit longer, bigger for you. Let's see if that makes better right there. All right, I think that might be good right there. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna read two more comments here. Deb says, Jorge, nah, I'm not paying attention. I'm not attention seeking you. What the hell, bro? I'm the one with the bad English around here. I know you serve special ops on your knees. guys, guys, come on. You guys are disgusting. Jorge says, wait, one real thing. So remember, he will call Joe Sleepy Joe, right? But Trump's falling asleep. Your thoughts on camera? Yeah, that's so I will say this. I do believe that he's snoozing enough. I do believe that he's snoozing enough. Let me tell you something. And you guys in here, you members and my patrons that are subscribers have been following me for a while, you guys know that I sit here sometimes. I sit here for 7 to 9 hours because there's a lot of live streaming going on. So I give you that, right? But I'm gonna tell you, man, I fall asleep. Like anybody, we're humans. Anybody fall asleep if they're not getting any sleep. And I'm gonna tell you, bro, the amazing thing. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to where Trump lost the second election. Trump was up and down every city, every state. It seemed like it. Campaigning, hard campaigning, multitudes of crowds. Some crowds bigger than others. Sometimes the crowd was mediocre, but he was campaigning hardcore. And it looked like every American was voting for President Donald Trump. Biden was in his basement. Campaigned maybe once. Couldn't find himself in the stage. He spent almost 3.5 years at the beach or at the basement. He didn't do work. He didn't do anything for the American people. That's the difference right here, okay? And, I get it. He's sick. But they should have been upfront with that. You know why Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Robert Ryder were making this whole Russia collusion thing? Because the Russians said they had something on the United States of America. They didn't say on Trump, on the United States of America. And Putin was not going to release it unless he really had to. And what was that information? Hillary Clinton's health. Nothing to do with Trump colluding with Russia. President Barack Obama changed the story at the end so they wouldn't get in trouble, etc. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And then you have Biden taking over. He didn't campaign, and yet somehow, wow, like 80-something million people went and voted for President Biden. And it's just amazing. And the difference is that President Donald Trump is actually busting ass every day. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you know this, but if you search throughout history, you will find reports that tariffs are effective, but it takes a long time for tariffs to actually, be able to negotiate, etc. President Trump has been doing that within the first year. Now, even though some people are not happy with the prices, right? There's a lot of reasons for that, and you guys know I talk about those reasons all the time. But there is a lot of things that have to happen throughout the world, in and out. I mean, look at everything that he really is doing. Like this guy, the press can't even keep up with him. The press complain because he's always up. The press cannot keep up with President Donald Trump. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, bro, he outdoes me at work. I'll be passing out. I'll be snoring. Let me tell you that. I think that the way that I would test President Trump, just to see if he's really sleeping, just listen. Is he snoring? Because if he's snoring, he's out, bro. But I'll tell you this. At least he has a reason to do it, okay? If a president is working hard, man, instead of making fun of, we can just say, wow, he needs a rest, man. We are abusing this old man because President Trump is old, bro. And I mean, he's healthier than I am. He seems stronger than I am. Plays golf better than I do, for sure, 100%. And for everything that he's doing, man, I think sometimes we're very selfish because we keep taking advantage of it and we don't truly appreciate him sometimes, I believe. All right. Cutting Edge, thanks for the super chat, bro. If companies buy products from the USA, we would need more factories and more farmers, of which we only have 6%, and that will give the country more freedom and money. Howard Lutnick will be so rich with tariffs. That I agree with that, and I believe that wholeheartedly, 100%. This is why I mentioned, and I know people think that we're racist, and I don't give a crap. But I'm going to tell you this. This is why I said, let's get rid of Somalis. Let's get rid of ungrateful immigrants out of this country. And I mean this. Bring in all the Afrikaners from South Africa. Yes, they're white people. They're white people. Eat your heart out. Why is it? Why is it that they were able to make a beautiful town in a place where even the native Africans would not survive? Well, that's because the white man is innovative. They're settlers. It's in their genes. They like to build towns. To what the natives, whether African or Indian, they want to build huts. Yeah, we got the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Incas, and there was temples made of rocks and all this other stuff. But let's be honest, they were not colonizers. They were not settlers. They did some great stuff in their cultures back then for what they had, but they didn't withstand the time of the pressure and the complications that time brings up. To where you have Afrikaners that actually survive in a desert in Africa and made it flourish. We want those people here. Just imagine that. And give them a chance to buy farming land and take it away from the Chinese owning farming lands. How about if we allow foreigners to own land in this country? They cannot own it, but they can lease it. Meaning that we will continue to collect money as long as they are farming in this country. And I think that Afrikaners are amazing people. They're very peaceful people and innovative, and they can bring a lot of value to the United States of America. Now, whether people agree with me or not, that's irrelevant. It is what it is, okay? But I really, really believe that, okay? And with that being said, let's go ahead and get back into our little reading of this morning, because I do need to make sure that we play Marco Rubio's remarks, because we are going to watch. I'm waiting for the live from President Donald Trump. Obviously, this is MAGA country. This is MAGA nation. That Dennis Herrera stands for America first. And President Donald Trump is the man that is delivering that promise. I know there's a lot of MAGA flakes that have changed their minds because they have been lied to. They have believed the lies that have been told to them. And they forget. They forget all the good things that are happening. So I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But weak-minded people will say they're patriots and then turn their back on their own people. I don't do that. And no, if before you go in there and say, I'm turning my back against my own Honduran people, my own Hispanics, no. I give credit to every educated, respectful of the law, Honduran and any other Hispanic that respects the law and comes to this country the right way. I respect that. Everybody else, sorry, you ain't it, Miss Thang. All right, here we go. So, breaking, President Donald Trump signs an executive order making Christmas Eve and December the 26th official federal holidays. Holla! You guys are going to have an extra day off. Wait, that's 2 days off. Extra. You're going to have the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th, if I'm reading that right. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. All executive departments and agencies of the federal government shall be closed and their employees excused from duty on Wednesday, December 24, 2025, and Friday, December 26, 2025. The day before and the day following Christmas Day, respectively. That's amazing, guys. That is amazing. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Do we get Transstefia in the chat already? What did you guys say about my Afrikaners? Yep. Elon is South Africa. Yeah, he's an Afrikaner. Correct. All right. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up just a little bit. Angel Miranda. Hey, welcome back, hater. Beta says, you are a joke. SoCal don't believe that Afrikaners are peaceful. The ones that I'm talking about are. Let's see. Robert saying hello to. Hey, Brian, how are you, man? Good morning. Thank you, Robert, for hitting that salute there to our patriot. Lee Hall says, Utah took the perfect shot. Bro. Seriously? Come on, man. You can't be serious. You see that? I'd rather have an Afrikaner over here than people like Lee Hall. These guys are mentally retarded and mentally unstable. Curly says, those pudgy ICE agents they're hiring who keep falling on their asses is funny. So that is true. Some of them have been falling on their ass. So I'm not going to say nothing. I have been thinking about maybe applying for ICE. And I will not be wearing a mask. That's right. And I will be telling these people that keep saying, kidnapping people, listen. If we were kidnapping people, you wouldn't be recording right now. You'd be gone. You'd be taken care of. Everybody with the cell phone, gone. These people are they just, I don't know, man. They don't get it. They don't appreciate our law, our authority, our law-abiding officers. America first, baby, says JC, and I appreciate that. Tony says, 40 billions to Argentina. America first. Man, how many people come in here and say that in my life? It's like, guys, if you're going to ask that question, stick around so you can hear the answer of why, okay? If you are an actual American citizen, and you believe America is first, this is the channel for you to be in, okay? Let's see. So what's not peaceful about Afrikaners? Do tell, SoCal. I don't think you understand what peaceful means. Have you seen what the South Africans are doing to the Christians over there? See, that's not peaceful. Now, can you fight? Can you argue? Yeah, sure. But I mean by peaceful is they're not out there killing people. It's not what they do. And if any of them do, it's probably self-defense. Let's see. Thank you, Tanya. I see you. BBC on Maga's chin. Liho, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Tony says you need something on your life. I do have something on my life. I got special stuff in my life. I got treasures. I got a wife. I got children. I got a family. And most importantly, I have God in my heart. So, yeah, I am. I'm very good. I'm good. Surrey says, I have a question for you. Of course you can ask. That is why I'm reading comments right now. Let's see. Gecko says, even though I am a Democrat, I am shocked by the violence that politics can bring. True. It's a shame that Kirk was taken from his family. I may not agree with him, but he is human. Absolutely, man. And this is, when people giving crap to President Donald Trump for the comment that he made, he ended the note, because everything he said was true, but he ended the note with, may they rest in peace. And I think at least that you have to give him credit for, okay? Let's see. Man says, SoCal should find a different hobby. Man, for real, bro. If you guys, I don't understand. Like, what is the point of you guys coming to my channel? It seems like people come into my channel to try to make their will on me. But that's not what this channel is for. I try giving people a chance to call in, to debate, and this and that. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Let me tell you why. The only way that I would debate somebody is if we have the same standards, if we have the same beliefs. I will go ahead and debate with somebody because I think that I will be able to have better ideas on how to be better at what values we are trying to protect. For example, if you are, pro family, the nucleus of the family is a husband, a wife, and children. Okay, we are on the same page. If you believe America is first, meaning that illegal immigrants are not priority, American citizens are. If you believe the same thing, then okay, we have the same standard belief. Okay, so we can debate of how we can make it better. Now, people all normally come in here and say, oh, 40 billion to Argentina. No, they don't understand what we're doing, okay? And if you missed my live last night, that's exactly what I was talking about. We are doing things in Venezuela. We're doing things in Honduras. We're doing things in Chile. We're doing things in Ukraine, in Russia, in Israel, and Qatar, and the Saudi Arabia. I mean, we're doing things everywhere. And those things are because America is first. I don't understand why people don't see it that way. You said Afrikaners are peaceful. Yes, I believe that. Let's see. You have to go all the way back to 1993, bro? Bro, that's almost 30 years ago. 32 years ago. Come on. Give me something new. Let me see. I will tell you why I say that. Because Afrikaners, they were in their lands that they have bought, etc. Okay? They made it flourish. The farming was amazing, was producing. They were doing great. The black Africans were pissed off and envious and jealous of them. And then the president started to say, hey, this land belongs to these people. And of course, the African president is corrupt, right? The president of that country in South Africa, he's corrupt. So he's making money from the land. So, of course, I understand the natives are upset, but that's the president's fault. That's nothing to do with the Afrikaners. And so what do the Afrikaners say? Okay, you know what? We're not going to be doing this. We're going to go here. And they moved to an area where they were not going to be successful. And what happened to the farming? The native African, black Africans took over and they died. The farmlands were not good. And yet, the area where the Afrikaners were supposedly going to die by the black African sayings, they actually flourished. They actually were able to make a functional society. Not a tribe, not a force of brute strength, but a family-oriented town, farming. Everybody's peaceful, beautiful, beautiful people. That's the people that I'm talking about. I don't understand. We know that between us Indians, there has been a lot of violence against each other in our history. Our history here in the Americas have taught us that our Indian ancestors were so violent. No wonder they're extinct. The white men didn't come and kill them. God allowed for people to come here. And what killed almost 90% of our natives? A disease. The common flu, the cold, smallpox, things that anybody today will survive. But they couldn't. They were taken out. Was there atrocities? Sure. Were there people that was racist? Yeah, sure. Because you know what? There's no such thing as racism. This is just something that we identify as. Is there prejudice? Of course. Prejudice, I'll give you that any day. I will give you that we're prejudiced all the time. You're too fat. you're too skinny, you're too tall, you're too white, you're too black, you're not brown enough, you're too light brown, you're not white enough, you're not black enough. Man, it's just you're not rich enough, you are too poor, you're worthless, and this and that, and you can throw all insults, and you can say, Dennis, you look so ugly, and oh, look at him with this dumbass goatee, and blah, blah. You can say any of those things. You are prejudiced. It's who we are as humans. We're prejudiced. But there is no racism, because the only races we have in this country is the human race. So we go and become prejudiced because of a skin color, but there's only one human race, so there is no racism. Prejudice exists. I believe that. But we have to be able to accept that our Indian ancestors, were violent. Whether the white man was shooting Indians, Indians were throwing arrows between each other's faces. If you went too far on one side of the mountain, you're gone. It doesn't matter if you're another Indian. They killed you. I said this many times before. Our Indians in Honduras, they were taking hearts out on these sacred rocks, sacred totems. What the hell is that about? That wasn't the Spaniards. That was our own Indian, our own Mayan ancestors. Look at the Aztecs, same thing. Incas, same thing. Our Indians decapitating their own Indians. So, stolen land? No. I don't care about that stupid saying. When people start saying, oh, this is stolen land, every migrant is legal. No. No. I don't know what the hell time people think we're living in, but everything is different. Wars have been fought. Land has been conquered. The weak lost. The strong survives. And now we have a nation where the strong people defend the weak. It is because of the strong people in this country that our enemies don't dare to come in. And when they do, they're punished. They're destroyed. 100%. But we can no longer defend the weak when they keep helping our enemies invade our country. You see, because of the weak and socialist, our economy is going down the drain. It's not Trump. It's not Trump at all. Let me give you an example. Seattle, Washington would not have to raise taxes on corporations or on the people if they didn't waste so much money on stupid social programs. Now you can say, oh, Dennis, well, what do you mean? What about the people that need help? Hey, they need help. They need help. But you just throwing money away at the problem is not going to help. You got to actually get people to help. I give you an example. We shared a clip from, I believe it was Chow, he's from Turning Point USA, and Brandy Cruz from Seattle. She shared a clip where he went into this building where they have gathered all these homeless people, okay? They have gathered all these homeless people, and they put them in this building, and for the made up apartments for them to live in. They have no supervision. There is no counseling. They give them free drugs, guys. Free shots. Free heroin. Free coke. No joke. When they overdose, they died. Okay, boom, we'll just, clean up the garbage. That's how they take care of the city. They waste, fraud, and abuse the taxpayers' money. And then they wonder why. They wonder why we have an economic crisis. They wonder why we have an affordability problem. When you got over 30 million illegal immigrants coming in at once, it is horrible, especially when you have short housing, shortness of housing, too much regulation, too much tax. too many fees. So they're not building fast enough because they don't want to invest. It's crazy. But you have shortness of housing available, and then you got millions of illegals coming in. Guess what they need? They need housing. And so what happens when you have shortness of houses? I don't know if that's the word, to be honest. I'm kind of confused on that one. But if we don't have enough housing available for the actual American people that are here and all the other legal migrants, residents that are here, what happens when we open the floodgate and we allow millions to just come in here where we are already struggling with affordability? It creates a high demand and the supply is too low. They raise taxes on gas. Guess how things get delivered? With trucks. Diesel is more expensive. Gas is more expensive, so the drivers will charge more. When the chargers charge more, well, the company has to pay more. When they have to pay more, they lose profits. When we have to raise the minimum wage and the government forces taxes on these corporations, well, they have to raise the prices. Every service and product that the government taxes, who picks up the bill? You know, I find this very ironic because people from the left, they come into my channel. I wish they stuck around right now because what I'm saying is so true. They come into my channel and they complain about Trump's tariffs. But check this out. Check this out. They complain about Trump's tariffs, right? Because that's affecting the big business, the people that are importing, from other countries, right? But check this out. People don't know how to make an example of this magnitude into this side. And they don't know how to make a small example like this to a big magnitude like this. What do I mean? What do I mean? So people come in here and they say, oh, tariffs. Tariffs are making our prices unaffordable. First of all, that's not true. But okay, let's say that is true. Why don't you say that? Especially when you believe tariffs are a tax. They're not. That's why they have a different name. They have importing fees. They can name it whatever. And the president can use that. It's not unconstitutional because it really is not a tax. It is a surcharge. It is an introductory charge or a fee. They have ways to change the wording so that it becomes legal. But when the government, your local government in your city, in your state, are raising taxes, why don't you ever come in here and tell me, oh my God, the prices here are expensive. The housing is not affordable. Food is more expensive because of no. Come on down. Back it up a little bit. Back it up a little bit. You believe tariffs are taxes. Trump puts tariffs on the country for anybody that wants to get importation. Okay, all right. With the same logic that you're arguing with me, now go ahead and tell me, why are prices so expensive? Why are prices so high in our states, in our cities? And tell me that without blaming taxes for it. And when you do that, I want you to grab that same logic and think again about the tariffs from Trump and see where you land. Salud, my friends. Stay thirsty. Man. And I got a doctorate on the economy. Oh man, I get people that come in here, bro, and it's crazy. I'm gonna say this. Oh, here we go, Terry. Here we go. Terry's gonna explain to me. Here we go. Terry says you really don't understand economics and how money works if you don't see tariffs as a tax. Okay, let's just call tariffs a tax. Okay, let's call it a tax. Okay. So why are prices so expensive? Why are prices so high? Go ahead, call tariffs a tax. 100%. Matter of fact, when you do that, you prove my point. Tell me why prices are so high in your city and state? Let's see. MindSpeak, good morning, brother. Official, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. Where are the last whites Afrikaners that came here? Are they making agriculture great yet? I know, right? You know what? I haven't heard about these Afrikaners, man. That's a good point. I haven't heard anything about them, to be honest. I wonder what they are really doing. I mean, not all Afrikaners are just farmers. That's just like saying all Mexicans and illegal Hispanics, we need them so they can pick our cotton and our vegetables and fruits. That's not all they do, but you know. Here's the thing, guys. This is that's it. Terry says, okay, but if you don't want to talk tariffs, let's talk beef. Okay, sure. Trump gave money to Argentina, billions, right? But our farmers are struggling to sell. Okay. Now you see beef is over $10 per pound. That's actually not bad for beef. What kind of beef? Steak. I can get a pound of ribeye steak, boneless ribeye, for about $15 to $18 an hour. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me cover it in here. You said Trump gave money to Argentina. Okay. How much did he give to the farmers just now? Do you know how much? And that's for you. Nobody else answers. I want to know if Terry knows. Terry, how much did President Trump just give the farmers? Now, I'm going to look up the actual number. I know how much they gave him, okay? Let me just throw it out there before I go looking for information. I know it was $12 billion. Now, some say 11, but I think it's $12 billion out of the tariffs, by the way. Tariffs, okay? Now, the other thing that people don't mention is that, let's see, so the farmers got $12 billion or $11 billion bailout money from tariffs, okay? I want you to look at that. Okay, it's from tariffs, not from taxpayers' money, tariffs. And then let's see, what's the other one? China to buy soybeans from the U.S. Let me see if they put the stats in here. I know it was 3 years, I believe. It says China has recently agreed to significant U.S. soybean purchases, aiming for around 12 million metric tons by early 2026. That is the power of tariffs, my friend. So because of tariffs, now China is going to be agreed to buy 12 million metric tons by early 26. Guys, right here, we have been telling you 2026 is going to be amazing. All right, let's see. What else did you get? Let's see. LeBron says, if it costs me more to purchase something, I put the cost on the customers I'm selling to, not rocket science. Oh, that's pretty simple. Yeah, I agree. So what happens when your government raises your taxes for your business? What happens when the government raises your sales tax? What do? Right? And so I know the answer. I have my own business before. I know the answer, okay? So I can tell you this. Thank you, Saltwater. Don't worry, brother. I know you guys will. I know you guys will renew. I know Robert told me he'll renew in next month. Don't worry about it, guys. I appreciate you becoming members, man. God bless you for that. Thank you for the support. So I know that if I have to pay more taxes for doing business, license, insurance, blah, 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 all this stuff, I have to charge more for my service. I have to charge more for my product. Good morning, sis. I didn't want to bug you today. You are always so amazing. I love it when you come in, sis. Much love to you. Mwah. We have to agree, okay? We have to agree. If we're going to blame President Donald Trump for tariffs, taxes, right, imposed on importing goods, his tariffs do not affect you if you do business here in America and you don't have to import. To whereas your local taxes from your government, from the governor, senator, etc., those taxes actually affect you directly. And when you get those taxes, when you get a regulation slapped on you, you have to spend more money. And what do? Well, you got to charge more money for your product. You got to charge more money for your service. Why? Because you want to make money, right? If you're a business owner, you don't want socialists to just grab your money and use it however they want. No, you want them to work for it, correct? So if you are blaming President Donald Trump for tariffs, I also want to hear you blaming governors and senators, mayors for raising taxes in your city, county, and state. All right? That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Let's see. Last day of homeschool of the year when we're knocking it out. Let's go, sis. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Donna says, if you had a business, then you know tariffs are taxes. Guys, forget about the wording. Okay, call it taxes. That's fine. Call it taxes. Here, okay, so if you have a business, let me ask you something. What's a service fee? Tell me, what is a service fee? What is a surcharge? And compare that to a tax. Go ahead and explain those three things to me, and I will love to be on your side. Go ahead. For those of you who claim to be business owners, tell me, what's a service fee, a surcharge, and a tax? Listen, for all purposes, it really is just to keep track of the monies. If you don't want something going to the federal government, you're going to call it something else. You can call it a city tax, state tax, federal tax, any type of tax you want. Adam says, easy, get a job, and then you don't have to worry about it. That is true. That is true. Let's see. Lou says, it's a global economy that you don't want to work with within like the last 60 years. Yeah. So they, Annan, I don't know. Who you calling a liar, bro? Roos, let me just say something. I don't have that many people in here, bro. If you're going to come in here just to insult, get the hell out of my channel, bro. I don't need you here. I want, even if I get only 10 people on my live, that's what I want. But I want people that I can talk with, have a conversation with, and that some people that will question something so that I can think about it. And maybe I have agreed with some stuff that people have told me before, and some people have corrected me. And that's okay. It may take a while for me to adjust to it, but once I find it the truth, yeah, I'll agree with it. Let's see, what do we got? Rosen trying to give Dennis a job. He's straight and married. These guys they're just trolls, man. This is what they do. Go ahead, Trinity. Go ahead and just block Ross. I'm not gonna unblock him. Just get him off the chat and ban him from the channel. You're not welcome here no more. Bye, Nunez. Get the hell out of my chat. Let's see. Who else is in here causing trouble? I don't need friends. Why have friends that get you in trouble? I want real friends. So I have my my patriots on this channel that support me. What? Okay, Adam, I think you're not serious. You too. Get the hell off my channel. Block him, Trinity. You can go ahead and get rid of him as well. This Transtifia street urges need to find a job. I like how they come in here and tell me to get a job, and yet they are here. Are you working right now? All right, man. I'll do it. I'll get rid of him. Okay. Thank you, sis. These people don't get it. So it's not about you're hurting my feelings. No, I just don't want garbage on my chat. Okay. I want other people that want to come in here and actually, talk, communicate. Welcome back, brother. I know you support me, dude. I wish that you can do the whole yearly. I don't think that's possible. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. Scott, how are you? How are you? SoCal, you don't correct me all the time. You try to lie to me and not take the facts. Even when I show you videos, facts, news reports from CNN, ABC, Fox, etc., you still don't believe, you still don't say anything, you still don't agree. How can I take your answer serious at all? Not once. Not once. Have you ever told me what has President Donald Trump done since he was elected? Not one thing. So it tells me that you guys hate Trump, and because you hate Trump, you will never be one of us. You will never love us the same. Official, oh snap, above and beyond, baby. Let's go. Hey, did somebody took my title already? Let me see. Oh yeah, Cutting Edge, you took my title. Guys, it's a little time for us to do some emoji attacks on the chat. We'll give you here about 20 seconds, and we'll go ahead and start playing our first clip from Secretary Marco Rubio. The big boss, el jefe, el patrón, Cutting Edge. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our first feed here. Actually, you know what? Let me read one more comment here. Let's see. Here we go, guys.
Merry Christmas. Oh, nice. We got a candy cane. Thank you. Oh, wow. We got a candy cane. Yeah, jeez. Let's go. Merry Christmas. Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas. Hi, Pastor Tim. Merry Christmas to you.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. She has a candy cane.
Oh, so good to see you.
Good to see you. How's the baby?
Good.
Yeah,
Merry
good to
Christmas.
see you. Yeah. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, sir.
Thank you, man.
Merry Christmas. Say hi to my friends online.
Hello.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you guys. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Caroline has a candy cane and she likes it.
Great.
Hi guys. Hi sir.
Look out.
Merry Christmas.
That's awesome. I like it. Check this out, guys. So this this leftist Harry Sisson or Sison or however you say his name, it says look what he says. Look what he says. He says, while Trump was giving his awful rambling speech, President Biden was spending time with his family for the holidays. This is what real patriots look like, not the felon in the Oval Office. I'm going to tell you, this is what comes through my live feed in X all the time. Just leftists talking shit. And this is what I asked SoCal. Tell me one thing. You never come in and acknowledge anything that President Trump has done. He's never stopped any wars. He has never brought any money into the country. There has been never any agreements. He never secured the border. The only thing, he's attacking Venezuela. Oh, he's not stopping Ukraine-Russia war. Oh, he didn't do anything in Iran. It was nothing, blah, blah, blah. Bro, that's what I'm sick of. That's what I'm sick of. And every time, let me tell you something. You got to be able to know how to talk to me. And I know I may be being selfish on the way that I'm saying it, but you got to be able to talk to me. In order for you to get some positive reaction from me, you got to be able to reach into me. Okay? Here's an example. If you are a parent and you give your children everything, Daddy, can I get this? Yes. Daddy, can I get this? Yeah. Daddy, can I get this? Dad, can I get, 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 yes. Right? You keep saying that shit. Your children will never appreciate anything that they get in life. If you never love your children and you always say, no, 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 whip, 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 no, it's wrong as well. They will turn out to be rebellious, very resentful, probably even hateful and violent. They probably become criminals. So you got to have a balance. You got to let your children know, hey, this is very good. Makes me happy. I am proud of you. Reward, hugs, kisses, reward. Very nice. Very nice. You make me very proud. When they don't behave, hey, I'm disappointed. I am so mad right now. You know why? What did you do? What did I tell you? You have to let them acknowledge what's going on. So do I want to just tell the kids, hey, tell me everything? No, I got to be like, hey, so how was school? Good. Man, I'm so proud of you. You're doing really good. So tell me, what interests you in school today? What did you learn? Oh, man, you know more than me on that. I'm not touching that right there. You know what? Give them a conversation. Give them something that they want to hear. Truthful, not a lie, truthful, and then go ahead and engage in conversation with them. That is the same exact thing. What is the first thing that I do when I come in here with you guys, right? What's the first thing that I do? I come in and say, hey, guys, good morning. How are you? Welcome, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing the haters come in and say, liar. I just don't understand. Like, the moment people come in just insulting, it's like you lose credibility with me. I have no respect for that. So I can't even see your comments anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you lost it. So this is what a real patriots look like. Okay, as if Donald Trump has never spent time with the family, has never taken a picture like this. How come when President Donald Trump actually takes a picture like that, they don't say, oh, look, this is what real patriots look like? They make it sound like he's this holy saint that doesn't do anything wrong. Let's not forget that this old man has been racist all of his life. Let's not forget that he's the one that called the schools a jungle because black kids were actually going to white kids' school. They think we don't know. They think we forget. You know what? This guy, he's a young guy. I get it. He's a young guy. He thinks he's wise. He has all this information. He's not stupid. He has all this information, but he has no wisdom, no discernment. That kid has too much knowledge for himself. He's lost. He will never be able to see the truth. He will never be able to see the truth. That's just how it is. Doesn't matter. No. Wait a minute. It does matter in this case because he's still the same. It's not a one, little temporary event. See, that's the difference. It's not a temporary, oh, this happened back in the 90s. No. He has done that throughout his whole career. Even right now that he's sick, he's still doing the same shit. You remember? If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. How long ago was that? Was that 30 years ago? Yeah, shut the hell up. Then that's what I'm talking, SoCal. You are so dumb. That's what I'm talking about. I just can't take you serious, bro. Now, let's go ahead and read this little tweet from President Trump. Bro, I am Trump 100%, bro. It doesn't matter what you say to me. He has accomplished way more than any president ever in the history of the United States of America. I know his flaws, but I can recognize when there is something good and when I see it. Like, for example, somebody told me here right in the morning, oh, who was it? Jorge, right? Jorge said, don't buy anything at Costco. They're suing Trump. What did I say? I don't care if they're suing Trump. I want to get what I get. They got some good stuff. They got good deals. They got good warranty on products. What am I going to say bad about Costco? I got to pay a membership, $120 a year. How much money do I get back on my return? Almost $300, meaning that I didn't pay a membership, and I am taking advantage of the pricing. Cheaper gas. Products are cheaper. You buy in bulk. You can actually give more for your family. I have to call it as I see it. Just because somebody is against Trump, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go against them. That's not how it works. But if you're going to come and talk bad about Trump to me, well, guess what? I'm the one that has to defend them. Because you're coming to me to complain about Trump. You didn't come to me to talk to Dennis. You didn't come over here to be my friend. You didn't come over here to give me respect. You come here to be an asshole to me. and that's fine. But guess what? You get the same. You know my family in here? That you see the people in green, my members? The ones that don't have membership, they always support me with comments. They are subscribers. They cheering up for positivity. They cheer me on. They give me the love with words. I'm not here to be famous on YouTube. I don't give a crap about being famous in YouTube. I don't need that kind of attention. I need, the only attention I need is from my family. And those who care about me, well, they're going to get the best out of me. Those who hate me will get the worst out of me. It's that simple. So there you go. I hope that you learned something in life. All right. Here we go. That's what Donald Trump says. I haven't read this. The only reason our unemployment ticked up to 4.5% is because we are reducing the government workforce by numbers that have never been seen before. 100% of our new jobs are in the private sector. You should be grateful for that. We need smaller government. And this could reduce unemployment to 2% overnight by just hiring people into the federal government, even though those jobs are not necessary. I wish the fake news, well, let me read this again. Hold on. 100% of our new jobs are in the private sector. I could reduce unemployment to 2% overnight by just hiring people into federal government, even though those jobs are not necessary. I wish the fake news would report the 4.5% correctly. What I am doing is the only way to make America great again, and I agree with that. I agree with that. No, there's been thousands and thousands of federal employments done. If you're going to talk about open availability for jobs, did you know that there's actually fake job postings out there? And when somebody is looking for a job, that's where they get statistics of unemployment. Yeah, that's how they get it. Well, that's one way of getting it. But then what happens when people keep calling, hey, applying, nobody calls back. There was a time period where I was applying to different agencies all the time. Apply. The position was open. My resume was great. I make sure that my resume was looking good. I even got professional help, assistance with the resume. They said there was nothing wrong with my resume. Okay? They didn't call me back. No email, no phone call. And I was throwing applications, different companies that I more than qualify for, and no calls. So how am I going to blame my unemployment on the President Biden? How am I going to blame my unemployment on Barack Obama? There is positions available. I'm applying for them. I'm not getting the job. If there is thousands of job postings out there that are fake, and thousands of people are out there applying, that means they are unemployed. And they track this. And they tell you that they're going to track this. But they're not getting hired, so of course they're going to be on the database for unemployed. Let's not get it twisted. See, that's the whole thing. It's like you act like you have these facts in front of you, but I guarantee that all you listen to is left media. Just leftist people. Because when you come in here, you don't come in with an actual real question to find out what's going on. You come in here to just Everything that I say, you have to contradict. Every single thing that I have ever said on this show, you have to contradict. And then you say, you correct me all the time. I'm not asking you to correct me if you're wrong. If you want to correct me, you better prove me wrong. And the stats that you're calling out, I just read it. You wanna get stats from the fake news? Go for it. He just explained government jobs. Yes, you know how I know it's true? Because Schumer and the rest of the libtards, they were actually complaining that President Trump has laid off thousands of federal employees. Come on, man. One day, something will click in that little peasy brain of yours. Oh, look at that. Milwaukee County judge found guilty of obstructing federal immigration agents in courthouse incident. What does that tell me right there? What that tells me is that every single person that is out there protesting ICE agents should be arrested and prosecuted and put in jail for obstructing ICE agents and for harboring criminal illegal immigrants. These people are so stupid out there obstructing ICE. They are going after people that have orders of deportation. They're going out there for people that have committed fraud. Some people have just overstayed and they have felonies because they didn't follow this, they didn't follow. Whatever the reason is, they're coming out there for specific people. And when you have other Hispanics, other illegals coming into the mix, they will hold them up. And once they run their identity and they are illegal, they are getting their ass deported. Not everybody that says, I am a citizen, it's an actual citizen. People lie all the time. You know that, right? Let's see. Jorge says it tells you nothing. You can't read English. Bro, you just use Google Translate to tell me that. Knock it off. Here, let's see. Oregon says, yeah, drugs wrecked a few of my brother's lives. Oh, man, I'm sorry, bro. I truly am. I lost my brother-in-law to fentanyl, so I know, man. And you know what bugs me? When people tell me, that the war on drugs, it's useless because the reason why they are able to sell those drugs is because they're drug addicts. It pisses me off when people say that. I don't know. That actually pisses me off. Let's see. American Pride Month should be a thing. Bro, I don't know what you mean by that, but I hope. It doesn't sound right. If it sounds like LGBTQ, it's not a good thing. We don't need a month. Our history, every day that we are Americans in this country, it's a good day. Every day should be a proud to be American day. Okay? I think that's what you're meaning. Paul Salsi, what are we smelling on the chat today? Somebody said transtifia, but I don't know. I don't know if there's transtifia in here. Sounds more like transquifia, but I'll let you at it. Let's see. Cool Cat says, please double tap that screen. We need you to tell your family, friends, and loved ones and co-workers to join the Dennis Show now. He will tell you true facts, what's going on in this country. Redneck. Cool Cat, you are the cool cat, bro. When an illegal is removed from the workforce, who's left to fill that job? That's a trick question. I don't know. Maybe somebody that's legal and wants to work? Maybe. Donna says, in prisons with them. All right, here we go. Let's see. SoCal says, any uptick in available jobs after enforcement likely reflects the increased demand for workers as immigrants are deterred or removed rather than a successful replacement by other workers. So do you think that Americans are not getting jobs? Why do you think Americans are not getting jobs? What is the reason you think Americans cannot get the jobs that illegal immigrants are filling up right now? I know some of the reasons. Oh, thanks, Salt. Appreciate you, brother. Says what? It's sad how our country has divided. Trump is here to do his best to fix it. Too many non-patriots, I guess. I just don't get it. You know, and this is the fight that we have every day, right? It is the fight that we have every day. Let's take a listen to some news.
$850 million to build a rare earth and critical minerals refining facility. The company is expecting the new facility will create about 200 jobs with an average salary of about $90,000 a year. Louisiana leaders say the project will result in an additional 554 indirect jobs to the region. Element USA says this facility will put St. John Parish as the focus of the U.S. critical minerals supply chain. Also in St. John Parish,
$90,000 average pay. I'm down with that. I am down with that. Yeah, Americans don't want those jobs. We do have socialists. Remember that. They don't like to work. We do have Americans that don't like to work. That is for sure. And I, you know, I made this comment before. I blame Democrats. This is what they've been training us. They've been training our youth to not, like, I think it was Jorge, right? I think it was Jorge that said that we should get a trade, I think, you know, a trading job. I know Berniel and some of my patrons have said the same thing. And I agree. You know, we need more mechanics. You know, we need more engineers. We need our architects. We need people that, you know surveying. You know, we need people that know how to work the field. But we keep telling the world that we need illegal immigrants to do that job. And that's kind of very, very prejudiced, to be honest. You know, to think that that illegal immigrants are the only ones that deserve those low-paying jobs with hard labor, I think that's wrong. You know, I don't agree with it. It's, you know, the reason why these people come and do some of the dirty jobs is because they're used to being dirty. This is how they are in their country. And I know that even if they do the job, it doesn't mean that we're going to encourage illegal immigrants to keep coming here and keep defending them for doing the job that Americans do. Because I will tell you this, I am a witness. Let me tell you something. You can call this a coincidence or whatever, but I can tell you something. When I did photography, I had a package, a wedding package, $3,200 for the package. You get an album, you get at least 500 photos, and you got my coverage between 8 to 10 hours in your event. Okay, professional quality photos. You get the digital copy, and you get the printed copy. An illegal Mexican will charge $300 for that job. Who do you think got the job? Sometimes people that charge the $10,000 for that job that I just told you. But most of the time, the lower pricing will always take the cake. Okay? And that's just an experience. This is just photography. They saturated the photography business. Here in Seattle, bro, all of a sudden, there was like hundreds of photographers. A lot of them don't speak English. What does that tell you? They just got here, bro. That's what that tells you. They just got here, okay? And then I have friends that have a business in landscape, for example. And he has seen in the last few years that we had this illegal immigration invasion, his business has dropped to the point like where he's almost done. He's almost throwing the towel. He has Hispanics working for him. He tells me they're legal, but he just can't afford to pay them. So what he does is he doesn't pay himself, and he lives off his savings so that he can pay his employees. But it has affected him big time. And you see a lot more landscapers that are Hispanic. You see a lot more roofers that are Hispanic. And don't think that these Hispanic workers, their bosses, are good people. Let me tell you a story. I was down in North Carolina, down on my luck in North Carolina. And there was this Honduran guy. See, there was a lot of Hondurans in this area. And one of them had a landscape business, right? I went with him and helped him sometimes, but he didn't really have the position available. But there was another Honduran that was a roofer. And he says, well, can you roof? And I said, sure. I've done it before. And he said, okay, well, right now, he said, I don't need a roofer, but I need a chalan. A chalan is somebody that's going to bring material up to the roof as they need it. And I said, okay. Well, I was using a ladder on this 3-story house, okay? So I will grab one packet of shingles because this is a tall ladder. I don't want the ladder to break. And so the other Hispanics there were, laughing, making fun of me, saying, oh, what a weak ass, you can't do any better, etc., right? And I said, okay, you know what? Boom, I won't show these fools, right? I'm going to grab 2 packs of shingles. And then, I'll get rid of them. This guy, okay, thank you, Trinity. So I go up with the 2 packets of shingles. Well, they're still making fun of me. And then even the owner of the business tells me that I am weak. Oh, man, I know a guy that's a lot smaller than you comes in here with 3. I said, yeah, that's exactly why I don't take 3. I said, you see how heavy I am. I'm 280 pounds. And I am putting how many pounds on shingles? Somebody tell me how many pounds is on the shingles. What, 30, 40 pounds? Maybe, right? About 30, 40 pounds per shingle pack. So I put 3 packs on me. And I'm going up the ladder. When I get to the 2nd floor, the ladder at the base breaks. It just bends and breaks. Too much weight. It breaks. I fall straight down. And then the side of the shingles, just so you know, is pretty sharp. Okay? And my hand landed this way, and the shingles landed, and it broke 4 of my fingers. 4 broken fingers. And the guy gets mad at me because the ladder broke. I said, you told me to bring 3 packets, and I warned you, and I did that. Now, can I get $8 so I can go get some Tylenol? You know what he said? No. My hand was shaking like this, guys, no joke, of the pain. And I remember bleeding. And I said, you know what? That's fine. You're Honduran, mofo. I said, you're my people. You're supposed to have my back. For all the people that come and tell me I'm a sellout and all this other crap, this is a no Honduran guy. I went and washed. I washed and I just held my hand. And I went and got some popsicle sticks. No joke. And I put the popsicle sticks on my fingers. And then I just taped a little bit this way. And then I laid on it to straighten my hand. I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, that's I got scars from the broken fingers. But the point of this is that you think that Hispanics that come and work over here have the best morals, the best working ethics? You think they follow the law on how to treat their employees? You think they follow the law to comply with work, with the working environment? Do you think they follow the rules to keep a safe area to work? Not all of them. So I can tell you this bad experience by my own people. I can see maybe if the guy was Mexican, he didn't like me. But the guy was from Honduras. From Honduras. Let me tell you another story from Honduras. Right there in North Carolina. He's actually my cousin. This guy. But he grew up together with these other guys, okay, in Honduras. He's a little bit older than me. And there was two guys fighting. And I'm defending his friend. But he comes out with a misunderstanding. And he comes out with a knife and tells me that he's going to stab me in the stomach. I said, what the f is wrong with you? Who the hell are you to threaten me? You're my cousin, you dumbass. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, you're my cousin, but I grew up with this guy. And I'm defending him. Son of a bitch. You gonna threaten to stab me with a knife? Put that knife down. Let's see what happens. I called my auntie and told her. I said, Auntie, what happened? What happened to Wilson? Why did he threaten to stab me with a knife for a friend that's not even family related? He's my cousin. Family. Honduran. Family. Break my 4 fingers. Not even $8 for freaking Tylenol. Imagine. No hospital, no clinic, not even $8 for a Tylenol. Honduran. My people. Yeah, my people. F you guys that come in here and tell me that I'm a sellout. That's why I stand up with those who respect the law, that abide by the law, and want legal migrants. They want to respect the law. Why? Because other companies need to be held accountable when they don't respect the law. I should have gone to the hospital. He should have taken care of the bill. I'm his employee. I didn't make a mistake. I grabbed my 3 packs of shingles. His ladder is the broke. There was no safety from his behalf as a business owner. He has insurance. He should have paid my hospital bill and bought a new ladder with his insurance. Instead, I get screwed with 4 broken fingers on my hand, in pain because I haven't got paid yet. I got no money. I'm not on welfare. And I know, and I'm already a resident, green card holder. I didn't have benefits. So people want to judge me. You can go ahead and judge me. You don't know my life. You don't know my life. And that's just a few of details that I can give you. But you don't know my life. You think I'm going to sit here and defend illegal immigrants? No. Not one bit. My family, my friends, are the Americans and those who respect and love the United States of America. That's my family. That's my friends. All right, let's go ahead and put Marco Rubio here because I think I'm going to be late with President Donald Trump's live. If you've been on my channel before, you know how I am. It is what it is. And Jorge, no, it's not a funny story, bro. It was effed up. It's not a funny story. That was effed up. Crazy. Crazy.
Savannah, I wanted to start. I'm going to be very brief because I just want to get to as many questions as I can. I can do English. I'll answer Spanish if you ask Spanish, and then I'll answer it in English after I answer it in Spanish. So any other languages, you know, I'll be able to do it. But those two, and then look. When I took over Secretary of State, I'll refer you back to the hearings we had in the Senate in January about the role I hope to play. And I believe very strongly this president was elected. One of the reasons why he was elected, very specific things, but one of the reasons why President Trump was elected is sort of an understanding among the American people that our foreign policy was in need of a complete recalibration. A recalibration because the world had dramatically changed. Many of the institutions, policies, assumptions that our foreign policy was operating under were built upon a world that no longer existed. And it required us to re-examine that. One of the assumptions that I think we had lost during this period of time, and I don't mean to make this an academic lecture, but I wanted to give you some insight into the broader thinking, as I highlighted at that hearing less than a year, almost a year ago now, is one of the assumptions was the loss of the notion of the national interest in our foreign policy. at the core of foreign policy needs to be the national interest of the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't issues and things we care about in the world, but at its core, the core principle of the national interest, the core principle behind our foreign policy needs to be our national interests. So you have to, first of all, define what is the national interest, and then you have to apply it. We defined it as we are in favor of foreign policies that make America safer or stronger or more prosperous, hopefully all three, but at least one of those three. And then it requires you to prioritize. Even the richest, most powerful and influential country on earth has limited resources, has limited time. And it has to be able to dedicate those resources and time through a process of prioritization. That includes geographic prioritization. It also includes issue prioritization. And that's what we intend to do here. Then you have to have the mechanisms of foreign policy to deliver on it. In essence, you have to have a Department of State and a National Security Council and all the elements of U.S. foreign policy influence and power to deliver, to identify and then deliver on those priorities. And that's what we've attempted to do here, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. There's more work to be done. There's things we will improve upon. But generally speaking, it was the genesis behind the reorganization of the department, oftentimes applying reforms that secretaries of states of both parties, appointed by presidents of both parties, have long sought to do. And we're very proud of that going into effect and continuing to work forward. I think we generally avoided, massive disruptions to our operation, although any transition involves some disruption. But we're very happy with the way we empowered our regional bureaus, meaning our embassies and the folks at the desks here behind the regions have become more empowered and having influence over every element of our foreign policy, particularly how it's applied tactically. At the same time, one of the things we looked at is foreign aid. Foreign aid is not a separate activity of the United States government. It is an element and a tool of our foreign policy, and it should be used for the purpose of furthering the national interest. That doesn't mean we don't care about human rights. That doesn't mean we don't care about starvation. That doesn't mean we don't care about hunger. That doesn't mean we don't care about humanitarian need. What it does mean, however, is that even foreign aid, which is not charity, it is an act of the U.S. taxpayer. Now, American charities are free to give their money to whoever they want, as long as it's not a sanctioned entity. But the United States and the taxpayer money should be spent in furtherance of our foreign policy, should be spent in places and on things that further our foreign policy, and even that is not unlimited. We have a limited amount of money that we can dedicate to foreign aid and humanitarian assistance, and that has to be applied in a way that furthers our national interests, and that's what we have sought to do as well. And in that endeavor as well, we have empowered the regional bureaus and our embassies to play a dramatic role. In fact, they are not just the implementers of this. They, in many cases, are the ones that are suggesting and are leading the response. And so bringing the tools of foreign aid underneath the umbrella of our broader foreign policy has been an important and dramatic reform. Even in the midst of all that, we remain engaged around the world, including in conflicts that perhaps are not central to everyday life in America, but the president has made it a priority to be a peacemaker. And so you've seen us engaged, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, or India and Pakistan, or Thailand and Cambodia, which is an ongoing challenge, or the tragedy we see now in Sudan, or the potential for further strife in South Sudan and that falling apart. I mean, no matter Armenia and Azerbaijan, we are always looking for opportunities, if possible, to play the role of a mediator that brings about the avoidance of war or the ending of conflicts. And obviously, in many of these cases, you can get people to the table and agree, and then there's the implementation process. And so we've made progress in many of these, particularly in getting them to agree to certain conditions. Obviously, it's ongoing work to make sure that those are implemented and applied. And some of these, conflicts have deep roots that go back many, many years. But we are prepared to be engaged and helpful in ways that perhaps other nations can't. We've been viewed as indispensable in that regard, and it's a role the president takes great pride in the promotion of peace around the world, and something he deserves a lot of credit for. He is personally engaged in all of this. Obviously, the big one was the situation with Gaza, which again is ongoing. There is now a ceasefire. There's that war is no longer going on at the scale and scope and all the things that were going on before. But obviously there's more work to remain. We are still through the process of trying to implement phase 1 and lead to phase 2 and phase 3. That is a long-term project, some of which will extend beyond the 4 years of this administration, but I thought was a very important achievement as well. So we have a lot to be proud about. I know you probably have some specific questions, and we can get to those, but I wanted to let that, lay that out as the preface and predicate for everything we're going to do today. So I'm going to start. How do I start? I'm going to start from the back row forward, and then I'll just juggle in between. I'll be here pretty long, so we'll get to everybody. Don't get desperate. Don't get wild. All right, I'll start with this gentleman with the white hair in the back. Yes, sir.
Ask you about Gaza. U.S. wants Pakistan troops to be in Gaza. Has Has U.S. got a consent from Pakistan that they will be sending their troops in Gaza for peace building and peacemaking?
Yeah. Well, look, in fairness to all the countries we've talked to about being and having a presence on the ground, I think they want to know specifically, what the mandate, what the specific mandate, it was the funding mechanism looks like. So we're very grateful to Pakistan for their offer to be a part of it, or at least their offer to consider being a part of it. I think we owe them a few more answers before we can ask anybody to firmly commit. But I feel very confident that we have a number of nation states acceptable to all sides in this who are willing to step forward and be a part of that stabilization force. And certainly, Pakistan is key if they agree to do so. But I think we owe them a few more answers before we get there. We're trying to make a lot of progress here with I think the next step here is announcing the Board of Peace, announcing the Palestinian Technocratic Group that will help provide daily governance. And then once that's in place, I think that will allow us to firm up the stabilization force, including how it's going to be paid for, what the rules of engagement are, what their role will be in demilitarization and so forth.
Thank you.
Next to you in the back.
Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for doing this. I want to start with Russia, Ukraine. You mentioned that
easy stuff, yeah.
You mentioned your efforts. There are talks going on right now, starting today and this weekend in Miami. What are your expectations from those talks? And the president yesterday made it clear he expects Ukraine to basically step up before Russia walks away. If you wake up in Odessa, if you're Ukrainian this morning, seeing Russians are bombing, your city, or if you turn on TV and listen to Putin, what he says, why would the Ukrainians, ignore what the Russians are saying publicly and believe in what they're hearing?
Yeah,
from
look,
media?
there's a reason why this war hasn't ended, and that is because there's complex factors at play. I know that sounds like a throwaway line, but it's true. What we have tried to do in this entire process, and let's be clear about this. I mean, the United States is engaged in this. The president says this, and I'll translate what I think he's trying to say to you in all of this, and I think he's been pretty clear about it, is it's not our war. It's a war in another continent. We have equities, we have engagement in this war, but it's not our war per se. But we are been told by everybody, I think everybody would agree, that there's only one nation on earth, there's only one entity on earth that can actually talk to both sides and figure out whether there's a way to end this war peacefully, and that's the United States. And we've invested a lot of time, a lot of energy at the highest levels of our government. I believe, President Trump has had more meetings with foreign leaders and others on the war in Ukraine than on any other subject, including trade. He's invested a lot of time. Steve and Jared have invested time. I've invested time. The Vice President, the Secretary of War, others, Secretary of Treasury, and more have invested a tremendous amount of time and energy in this. And what we're trying to figure out here is, what can Ukraine live with and what can Russia live with? Sort of identify what both sides' positions are and see if we can sort of drive them towards each other to some agreement. Wars end generally in one of two ways. Surrender by one side for another, or a negotiated settlement. We don't see surrender anytime in the near future by either side, and so only a negotiated settlement gives us the opportunity to end this war. A negotiated settlement requires two things: both sides to get something out of it, and both sides to give something. And we're trying to figure out what can Russia give and what do they expect to get, what can Ukraine give and what can Ukraine expect to get. In the end, the decision will be up to Ukraine and up to Russia. It will not be up to the United States. So that's the role we are trying to play in this. And that's why you see so many meetings going on. This is not about imposing a deal on anybody. It is about determining what both sides expect and need to have and what both sides are prepared to give in return for it, and figuring out whether we can have those two overlap. And of course, that takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work. It can't generally be done in the media or in press conferences. I think we've made progress, but we have ways to go. And obviously, the hardest issues are always the last issues. Yes. All right, I'm going to go to the next row. That gentleman right there with the glasses. Well, right behind you, because you're not the next row. That's the next row, right there. Yes.
I'd like to ask how you
Oh, I'm
view...
sorry. I didn't see. Okay,
Oh.
Go ahead. You can start. I hadn't seen you. I'd seen it, but you can go because you're first on that row. So.
Okay, great. Thank you so
As
much.
a well-oiled machine, ladies and gentlemen. So go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Thanks. I'd like to ask how you view recent escalation of tensions between Japan and China. You've been known for your tough rhetoric towards China over the years. Do you condemn China's recent provocative actions against Japan?
Yeah, no, I think I've been nice to China, in terms of the work we have to do with them. And I had another job. My job now is I represent the President of the United States and the United States in foreign diplomacy, and I think we've made good progress with the Chinese. The Japanese are a very close ally of the United States. I think these tensions are pre-existing. We understand that's one of the dynamics that has to be balanced in that region, and I believe that we feel very strongly that we can continue with our strong, firm partnership and alliance with Japan and do so in a way that continues to allow us to find productive ways to work together with the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government. Look, there'll be tensions, there's no doubt about it. I mean, at the end of the day, China is and it will continue to be a rich and powerful country and a factor in geopolitics. We have to have relations with them, we have to deal with them, we have to find the things we are able to work together on, and I think both sides are mature enough to recognize that there will be points of tension now and for the foreseeable future. Our job as part of responsible statecraft is to find opportunities to work together, because I think if there's a global challenge that China and the U.S. can work together on, I think we can solve it. And there'll be points of tension. We well recognize that, and our job is to balance these two things. I think both sides understand that. And I think we can do that without imperiling or in any way undermining our very firm commitment to our partners in the Indo-Pacific. That includes not just Japan, but South Korea, and obviously if you extend further out, I don't want to leave anybody out, but India and Australia and New Zealand and all the other countries. And we also have growing and burgeoning relationships with countries like Vietnam and even Cambodia that we really haven't had very close contacts with historically. But we've talked to them a lot lately, obviously through the context of the conflict going on with Thailand, but also to figure out opportunities to work together strategically. And I say Thailand, of course, we've had a very long and strong strategic alliance with them for many years. All right, now, yes, sir.
Thank you. Gracias, señor secretario. Dos puntos concretos en español. Bajo esta lógica hemisférica, ¿han considerado ampliar la presión más allá de Venezuela o Colombia a regímenes como los de Nicaragua o Cuba? Y segundo, esta semana en el Congreso se denunciaba que México está mandando decenas de buques petroleros a Cuba con la preocupación de que eso financia la dictadura. ¿Debería México reconsiderar esta política de asistencia al régimen cubano?
I'm going to answer in Spanish if that's okay, guys, and then I'll do it in English as well. And does somebody do closed caption on this? Can they do it? It doesn't matter because I'm going to say the same thing in English. Mira, la amenaza más importante que existe en la región es estos grupos terroristas criminales. Es la amenaza que enfrenta a Colombia, la amenaza que enfrenta el hemisferio entero, pero es la raíz de la violencia en Ecuador, en México, en todo Centroamérica, en todos estos países. Es la amenaza más primordial de la región. Entonces tenemos gobiernos que cooperan en nuestros esfuerzos en contra de eso. Panamá, Costa Rica, Ecuador, El Salvador, la República Dominicana. No dejo a nadie fuera, pero son muchos que cooperan. Tenemos y seguimos teniendo muy buenas relaciones con los equipos de seguridad de Colombia. Entiendo que el presidente de Colombia es una persona inusual, pero encima de eso tenemos, al nivel institucional, tenemos muy buenas relaciones y con México. El gobierno de México está haciendo más en este momento en el tema de seguridad que jamás en su historia. Queda mucho por hacer, pero tenemos cooperación. En el tema de Venezuela no tenemos eso, tenemos un régimen ilegítimo que no simplemente no coopera con Estados Unidos, sino coopera abiertamente con elementos criminales. Por ejemplo, el ELN y la FARC operan abiertamente desde territorio venezolano. Entidades de narcotráfico operan abiertamente y con la cooperación del régimen de Maduro para mandar drogas como cocaína a Estados Unidos a través del Caribe, creando una situación muy grave de seguridad en muchísimos países, inclusive Trinidad, República Dominicana, etc. Así que Estados Unidos lo que simplemente está buscando es la seguridad del hemisferio, que incluye, por ejemplo, Haití también. Y no hemos visto enfocado en eso. Obviamente los esfuerzos en contra de los barcos narcotraficantes saliendo de Venezuela han recibido mucha atención. Lo que no se habla lo suficiente, lo que estamos haciendo también en el mar Pacífico, donde hay esfuerzos andando también. La diferencia es que ahí tenemos la cooperación de gobiernos amigos. Lo que no se está hablando es lo que estamos haciendo junto con los mexicanos. Lo que no se está hablando es lo que estamos haciendo para crear una fuerza de estabilidad anti-pandilla dentro de Haití. Lo que no se está hablando es toda la cooperación que existen con todos estos gobiernos para llevar a cabo esta guerra en contra de estos elementos terroristas, criminales, que operan abiertamente dentro de nuestra región y que amenazan los estados de esta región. La buena noticia es que este nuevo año nos va a traer más gobiernos en el hemisferio que están dispuestos a cooperar en países como Bolivia, en Chile. Obviamente ya tenemos grandes amistades en lugares como Paraguay y Argentina. Y en fin, la reelección del presidente en Ecuador, la cooperación que existe en muchos países y esperemos poder ampliar esas relaciones con otros países también. Así que el esfuerzo se trata de eso y en eso estamos enfocados. Y obviamente tenemos que determinar cuáles son las fuentes de inseguridad en la región. Y esa fuente, la razón por la cual Venezuela ha recibido tanta atención, es porque Venezuela es un país que no simplemente, es un régimen ilegítimo, que no simplemente no coopera con nosotros, sino abiertamente coopera con elementos criminales y terroristas, incluyendo Hezbollah Irán y otros. Y obviamente estos grupos narcos que operan abiertamente desde ahí. You know, the question that and it's a question many of you might have as well, is when it comes to the Western Hemisphere, the single most serious threat to the United States from the Western Hemisphere is from transnational terrorist criminal groups, primarily focused on narco trafficking, but they're in all sides businesses as well. So the good news is we have a lot of countries in the region that openly cooperate and work with us to confront these challenges. Mexico, their level of cooperation with us is the highest it's ever been in their history. Throughout Central America, for the most part, except for maybe Nicaragua and to some extent Honduras, we've had great cooperation from Ecuador, from El Salvador, from Ecuador being in South America, but across the Pacific coast where we're also undertaking efforts. Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, these are all nations that cooperate with us openly in search of stability in the region. You move to the Caribbean basin, in Trinidad, in Guyana, in Jamaica, in the Dominican Republic, countries that openly cooperate with us. Even Colombia, despite its unusual president, has institutions in that country that work very closely with us, and those ties remain unimpeded and unaffected. So all of this is very positive. There's one place that doesn't cooperate, and it's the illegitimate regime in Venezuela. Not only do they not cooperate with us, they openly cooperate with terrorist and criminal elements. For example, they invite Hezbollah in Iran to operate from their territory. But they also allow the ELN and the FARC dissidents not just to operate from inside of Venezuelan territory, to control Venezuelan territory, unencumbered, unimpeded. On top of that, we know that they are in cahoots with drug trafficking organizations. It's not just that they don't work with us against these organizations. Okay? It's that they openly, cooperate with these guys and allow them to operate. So these guys are, marching in and out, doing whatever they want from Venezuelan territory, and it's a challenge. And so that's why that's received so much attention. But I would urge you to not just focus on that, but also focus on all the other things we're doing in the region, including, for example, standing up this gang suppression force in Haiti, which we were looking for 5,500 forces. We already have pledges of up to 7,500 forces from a variety of countries. We've seen donors step up to fund that effort. That's a very important effort. It all ties together cohesively. But the goal here is to bring security and stability to the hemisphere, to the region we live in, okay, which has not received enough attention. To bring the elements of American power to achieve that, to do it in partnership with as many countries as are willing to work with us in that regard. That's the goal here, and it's comprehensive and involves more than just one place. What makes Venezuela stand out is that the regime there actually cooperates with the terrorists. Yes, sir. In that row right there. Yeah, right there in the middle.
The hemisphere. The White House recently put out the national security strategy, essentially reorienting towards the Western Hemisphere.
It was
How
good,
is the
right?
strategy going to? Yeah.
Well, I was involved.
So
in
you can
it.
answer from both hats, I
yeah,
guess.
Exactly.
But how is that strategy going to dictate your relationship with other hemispheric powers like Canada and Mexico?
No, I mean, we want to partner with as many people. I mean, they face the same threats that we do. I mean, it's Mexican mayors that are being assassinated in public squares. It's Mexican journalists that are being assassinated. It's parts of Mexico and institutions in Mexico that in some cases are compromised, usually through threat by these elements. They recognize it, which is why they're partnering with us. Of course we want to work with other governments in the region to confront this challenge, and in most cases we have cooperative places. Now, we don't have that from Nicaragua or Cuba, but obviously didn't have it historically from Bolivia. We hope and expect that will change. And we certainly don't have that from the regime in Venezuela, who actually don't just not cooperate with us, they openly cooperate with narco-trafficking elements that use Venezuela as a transshipment point. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Today you had the second round of direct negotiations between Lebanon and Israel. Do you foresee a potential deal between these two countries without another round of war? And the second question, if I may, on Sudan. We know, Mr. Secretary, it's a civil war, but also there's a regional factor here. Where the U.S.
regional what, I'm sorry?
Factor in this war. Where the U.S. stands here, and what's a red line for you? Is a divided Sudan is a red line for the U.S.?
Yeah, let's separate the two because they're both easy questions, right? So the first one is we're hopeful. Look, at the end of the day, the goal everybody shares is a strong Lebanese government that controls the country, and Hezbollah is disarmed. They're no longer an armed element that can threaten Israel's security. That's the goal here. And we have tried to, in a cooperative way, to do everything we can to empower the Lebanese government to have the ability to do that. And so I hope that's what these talks are aimed towards, and we'll be supportive in every way we can to achieve that outcome. What I think is abundantly clear to everybody is no one is in favor of a Hezbollah that can once again threaten the region, act as a direct Iranian proxy, and obviously if they threaten Israel, we're not going to have peace. So we are hopeful that the talks between Lebanese authorities and the Israelis will create outlines and a way forward that prevents further conflict. I think I don't speak for the Israeli government. I can only tell you and echo what they've said publicly, and that is that if they feel threatened by Hezbollah, they will take actions in their defense against them. So we all would hope that we could avoid that, right? We would all hope that in order to have peace, you have to avoid that, and the best way to avoid it is to have a strong Lebanese government that can actually control the country, and that Hezbollah is no longer an armed threat to Israel or to the Lebanese state. And that's what we're committed to hoping to achieve. And we hope that, I can't speculate on what the talks will lead to, but we'll do everything we can to make them productive. On Sudan, you've rightfully outlined, I mean, there are regional elements to this. I mean, there are clearly both sides, you know, the SAF and the RSF have supporters from outside of Sudan's borders that are involved, and we've been engaging with those countries. It's not just countries that are providing them weaponry and equipment, it's also countries that are providing transshipment, particularly to the RSF to receive weapons, in some cases advanced weaponry. Our goal right now in the short term, and what we've emphasized to everybody, including in my calls with leaders in the UAE, leaders in Saudi Arabia, we're very engaged in that. Our special envoy, Masad Boulos, just returned from the region, meeting with the Egyptians, with the Saudis, with the UAE, and others. We've also been in collaboration with the UK on some of this. Our goal, the immediate goal we have, is a cessation of hostilities, okay, a humanitarian truce going into the new year that allows humanitarian organizations to be able to deliver aid to the people in great distress. Right now, that's not possible. We are hearing, continue to see reports of humanitarian convoys actually being struck on their way in. And so you can just imagine what's amazing to us is these convoys are struck and the rest of the convoy continues. That's how committed these groups are. But what we said to everybody on it is that what's happening there is horrifying. It's atrocious. That one day the story of what's actually happened there is going to be known and everyone involved is going to look bad. And we have played the role we have played is a convening role in bringing the parties to the table. So I think we will know more very soon about whether this is possible. One of the challenges and frustrations in Sudan has been that one side or the other will commit to certain things, and then they won't live up to those commitments. They'll agree to anything and implement nothing. And oftentimes what happens is when one side feels like they're making advances in the battlefield, they don't necessarily see the need to concede at that point because they believe they're on the verge of achieving some success on the ground, and a truce would set them back. But what we've emphasized is none of these groups can operate without the support they're receiving externally. So we have been engaging with the countries involved from the outside to ensure that they are at the table and that they are pushing for the same outcome that we want, which is phase one, a humanitarian truce that at a minimum allows us to deal with the humanitarian calamity that occurs there. And obviously we hope that while that truce is ongoing, we can focus on the other elements that led to this conflict and help to resolve some of those. But our number one priority we're focused on, 99% of our focus, is this humanitarian truce and achieving that as soon as possible. And we think that the new year and the upcoming holidays are a great opportunity for both sides to agree to that, and we're really pushing very hard on that regard. Yes, sir. Right there, because I missed
Secretario
you.
Rubio, en español,
Sí.
si me permite. El presidente Trump ha llamado al presidente Gustavo Petro drug leader y ha usado, digamos, términos
Bueno, él también ha dicho cosas a nosotros.
Totalmente,
Okay,
totalmente.
Claro, okay.
Secretario Rubio, ¿hay alguna prueba o por qué esta administración llama a Gustavo Petro? Quisiera saber por qué esta administración llama a Gustavo Petro un líder del narcotráfico. Y por último, secretario, si usted considera eventualmente ante la invitación que hace Gustavo Petro ahora al presidente Trump o a usted ir a Colombia y conversar con Gustavo Petro.
No, nosotros
Gracias.
conversamos con cualquiera. Desafortunadamente es una persona que no es muy estable en su pronunciamiento, pero no vamos a permitir que la actuación de un presidente, que al fin su término termina pronto, vaya a dañar la relación que existe entre Estados Unidos y Colombia, una relación muy cerca, una relación que se ha establecido a través de los últimos 50 años, una relación importante comercial, diplomática, militar, de seguridad, uno de los grandes socios y aliados que tenemos en la región. Y lo que queremos, no vamos a permitir que cualquier tipo de problema que existan con un individuo vaya a hacerle daño a esta relación tan importante. Esperemos que en el futuro exista la oportunidad de tener más cooperación a los niveles más altos del gobierno colombiano, pero no vamos tampoco a dañar, o no queremos dañar, a todas las relaciones que tenemos y los enlaces que tenemos, incluso con individuos en el cuerpo legislativo y también con oficiales electos al nivel local, muchísimos alcaldes y de diferentes lugares dentro de Colombia que también tienen muy buena relación con Estados Unidos y la amplia y estrecha relación que existe entre nuestros pueblos también. The question is again by Colombia. I said, look, we're not going to let sort of the pronouncements of an unstable individual over there to impact. We don't want to let it impact our broader relationship with Colombia. It's an important relationship, an important alliance. It extends through commercial, people to people, cultural, obviously security and stability, all of these things. And our job is to try to the extent possible, maintain those strong ties between Colombia and the United States and not allow them to be imperiled by the pronouncements of one person. We would hope to see a day soon in which we have better relations with the leader of that country, but we're not going to let the fact that that doesn't exist now, we're going to do everything possible to not let that impact the relationships we have with the people of Colombia, with the nation, with their economy, with their security forces, which are very important. This is a very important alliance, a very important strategic partnership, which we've built up through a lot of hard work over decades, and we're not going to let that fall apart because of one person. If that changes and he changes, that would be great. And obviously, in May, there'll be a new president there, and there'll be elections, and we'll work hopefully more cooperatively with whoever replaces the current president, but that's up to the people of Colombia. Did I not get your question? Go ahead.
Thank you. Returning to Gaza, what is the U.S. understanding of what Hamas is willing to concede on disarmament? Reports suggest that Hamas might hand over its heavy weapons, but retain its smaller arms. Is the U.S. prepared to accept partial disarmament as sufficient?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of those types of negotiations. Let me just couch it to you this way. Everyone wants peace. No one wants a return to a war. If Hamas is ever in a position in the future that they can threaten or attack Israel, you're not going to have peace. Okay? You're not going to convince anyone to invest money in Gaza if they believe another war is going to happen in 2 to 3 years. So I would just ask everyone to focus on what are the kind of weaponries and capabilities that Hamas would need in order to threaten or attack Israel as a baseline for what disarmament needs to look like. Because you're not going to have peace. If 2 years from now Hamas is launching rockets or killing Israelis or carrying out, God forbid, another 7th of October type terrorist attack and so forth, you're not going to have peace. So who's going to invest in a peace? Who's going to invest in rebuilding a place that's going to get destroyed again in a future war? So that's why disarmament is so critical. Now, what that entails, we're going to leave that to the technical teams to work on. It would have to be something, obviously, that they're willing to agree to, that our partners can push them and pressure them to agree to. It also has to be something that Israel agrees to. In order for that to work, both sides have to agree on it, and we need the space to do it. But that's the way to think about it, okay? You cannot have a Hamas that can threaten Israel in the future. If they can, you won't have peace. So that's the goal. All right. Who's left in that row? Right there with the mustache.
Does the U.S. have the goal of removing Maduro from power? Do you expect any regime change this 2026? I would appreciate if you could answer both in English and in Spanish.
In Spanish.
Yeah.
It sounds so much better in Spanish when I answer that question.
No,
Okay.
but for my
So
colleagues,
I'll start in English. Look, our goal is regional stability and security and the national interest of the United States. The national interest of the United States, specifically when it comes to Venezuela, is as follows. We have a regime that's illegitimate, that cooperates with Iran, that cooperates with Hezbollah, that cooperates with narco-trafficking and narco-terrorist organizations, inclusive not just protecting their shipments and allowing them to operate with impunity, but also allows some of them to control territory, the ELN and the FARC-D. Okay? The ELN and the FARC dissidents operate openly. They have like open camps that they control territory inside of Venezuela. That is our national interest, and that is what this is focused on. And that's what the president's been focused on. And that's what we're conducting. And that's what we have been focused on the entire time, because that is the threat to the national interest of the United States. Now, do we consider Maduro legitimate? No. And by the way, guys, when I say these things about Maduro and his role in narco-trafficking, it's not, I hear his reports, Marco Rubio says it, it's not me. A grand jury in New York, in the Southern District of New York, okay, a grand jury in the Southern District of New York was presented evidence and came back with an indictment, not just against Maduro, by the way, but against a bunch of people in his government for narco-trafficking. A bunch. He had, his nephews or the nephews of his wife indicted, convicted in the United States for narco-trafficking. Like this was, until President Trump started doing something about these narco-trafficking links, nobody disputed that Maduro and his regime was in cahoots with narco-traffickers. Not to mention the fact that they unleashed Tren-de-Aragua gangs on the United States. They've unleashed, a mass migration event, perhaps the largest in history. 8 million people have left Venezuela since 2014. So also destabilizing all the countries in the region who have had to assume people that are fleeing this illegitimate regime. So, but nobody disputed the drug links. So that's what the president's been focused on, and that's the problem. And that's the problem in Venezuela. En el caso de Venezuela, es muy simple. es un régimen ilegítimo que coopera abiertamente con Irán, con Hezbollah y con grupos narcotraficantes. Incluso la ELN y la FARC que operan abiertamente dentro del territorio venezolano encima de los demás. Entonces, la amenaza que enfrenta los Estados Unidos es eso, que tenemos un régimen ilegítimo que coopera abiertamente con elementos terroristas, y por eso consideramos el régimen de Maduro un régimen terrorista, cooperan abiertamente con elementos terroristas que amenazan la seguridad de Estados Unidos. Punto. Ese es nuestro interés y en eso estamos enfocados. Okay, next row right there, you. Yeah.
With all due respect for my colleagues, I'm going to ask this one in Spanish.
Okay.
Señor secretario, usted acaba de decir que no espera o que no es la intención de Estados Unidos que las diferencias con el presidente Gustavo Petro generen afectaciones para la relación con Colombia. Pero la verdad es que sí las han generado. Colombia fue desertificada, el presidente Donald Trump ordenó suspensión de recursos de cooperación para nuestro país y ya se están viendo consecuencias en materia de seguridad en Colombia. Nada más anoche asesinaron a 6 soldados colombianos, el ELN, con un atentado terrorista. Y la gran pregunta en Colombia hoy es ¿qué va a pasar el próximo año si Colombia elige un presidente de izquierda? Si las relaciones de Estados Unidos, las buenas relaciones con Colombia y el respaldo de Estados Unidos va a depender de que el pueblo colombiano elija un presidente que sea visto con buenos ojos por parte de esta administración.
No, pero que esto no se trata de izquierda ni derecha, esto se trata de una persona que simplemente no coopera con nosotros en estos esfuerzos. De eso se trata. Al final del día, el pueblo colombiano va a escoger el próximo presidente. Es una democracia, tienen elecciones, esperemos que se cumplan todos los requisitos, tienen una larga historia de cumplir los requisitos democráticos. Aquí no estamos diciendo que Petro no fue electo democráticamente, aquí nadie dice que no fue así. Pero en fin, esto no se trata de izquierda ni derecha, se trata de tener en poder un presidente que coopera con nosotros. Obviamente, sin duda, la postura que era tomada en contra de Estados Unidos ha afectado a nuestra relación, no hay duda de eso ninguna. Estamos tratando de limitar eso lo más posible, pero también tenemos intereses que tenemos que proteger. Y tampoco vamos a pretender, cuando tienes un presidente diciéndole a los elementos de seguridad que no cooperen con Estados Unidos, eso no lo podemos ignorar. Pero por otra parte, entendemos que tenemos dentro del sistema colombiano, incluso al nivel legislativo, en el Congreso, en el Senado, también alcaldes y otros líderes políticos de ese país que sí quieren buenas relaciones con Estados Unidos, y incluso líderes que no son de derecha, que son de izquierda, pero que entienden la importancia de esa relación. Pero esto no se trata de ni izquierda ni derecha, se trata que si va a cooperar con Estados Unidos o no. Tenemos una larga historial de cooperar con Colombia, que fue un ejemplo y un modelo para la región, y ahora tenemos algo un poco menos, que es lamentable. Ojalá que eso cambie. The question was about whether the U.S. relations to Colombia is dependent on whether they elect a leader that's center-right or center-left. It has nothing to do with left or right. It has to do very simply with whether or not we have a leader there that we can work with. The U.S.-Colombian relationship, especially our security relationship, but also our economic one with a free trade agreement, is a model. It was a model for the region. We tried to replicate that. Everybody would use Plan Colombia as an example of what you need to do in these other places. And we want to continue that. Now, no doubt, when you have the president of a country saying some of the things and ordering some of the things that he's ordered, it's going to have an impact on some of that relationship. Our job is to try to preserve and protect as much of that relationship as possible, but it will be impacted. But it doesn't matter whether the next president is center-right or center-left. That's not the issue. The issue is whether the next president is someone who's going to, once again, cooperate with the United States and restart these relations. That's what we seek. And if President Petro changes in his stance, perhaps that could change as well. But if he doesn't, obviously, it'll be up to the people of Colombia to elect their next president. Yes, ma'am, right there in the middle. I don't want you guys to think I'm only picking the Spanish ones, okay? I actually don't know who any, well, there's a list here, but I can't even read it without these glasses. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry, perdón.
Secretario Rubio, usted lleva años denunciando el régimen de Nicolás Maduro y estuvo, entiendo, hace poco en una conversación telefónica donde hablaron el presidente Trump y Nicolás Maduro. Quisiera preguntarle cómo sintió a Nicolás Maduro en esa conversación, usted que lo conoce desde hace años, pues su comportamiento, si siente que está acorralado como reportan los medios, si está abierto a irse a otro país a cambio de un indulto, si ustedes estarían pensando en reunirse con él. ¿Cómo fue esa conversación? O sea, ¿qué nos puede contar de el efecto que está teniendo sobre la persona?
Yo no voy a comentar sobre ninguna conversación del presidente Trump con cualquiera del mundo, y si existió o no existió. Yo no voy a comentar sobre eso. Voy a repetir lo que he dicho ya. Esto se trata de algo muy simple. Y esto se trata de los intereses nacionales de Estados Unidos. Y hay una amenaza regional que existe. Y en el caso de Venezuela no tenemos cooperación. Para empezar, que es un régimen ilegítimo. Segundo, que es un régimen que no coopera, es antiamericano en todos sus pronunciamientos y actuaciones. Y tercero, es un régimen que no solamente no coopera con nosotros, sino abiertamente coopera con elementos peligrosos, terroristas y criminales. incluso ellos mismos lo son. Entonces es difícil llegar a un acuerdo con terroristas que están abiertamente cooperando con estos elementos peligrosos que amenazan la seguridad de Estados Unidos. Encima de eso no voy a especular más.
Pero va a haber guerra, secretario, porque ahorita en Colombia todo el mundo se está levantando, en Venezuela, con la posibilidad de que haya una guerra entre Estados Unidos y Colombia.
Nosotros estamos protegiendo el interés nacional de Estados Unidos. Yo creo que, en fin, ese es nuestro derecho. Y también le diré que en Colombia debe haber mucha preocupación, que ha habido un ataque el día antes de ayer, o fue ayer, de ELN, o la FARC, creo que fue ELN, y de dónde operan ellos abiertamente, de territorio venezolano, abiertamente, como si fueran un país soberano, operando abiertamente dentro del territorio venezolano. It's the same question, guys, and that is, the bottom line is very simple. Our interest in Venezuela and in the region is the national interest of the United States, and in Venezuela we have an illegitimate regime that not only does not cooperate with the United States, but openly cooperates with narco-terrorists and others who threaten the national security of our country. The gentleman in the middle. I'm going to try to get to everybody, I promise. But you guys, by then, your questions will be
Thank you,
more
Mr. Secretary.
specific.
You said a few moments ago that everyone wants peace for Gaza, and yet by any metric, the Israelis are flouting the ceasefire that President Trump negotiated by killing an average of 2 children a day, not allowing the agreed-upon humanitarian aid into Gaza. How long can this continue? How long can the Israelis be allowed to show such disrespect to President Trump?
Well, look, that's your characterization of it about the term disrespect. What I would say is this. This was, first of all, it was a miracle that it happened in the first place. We all understand how difficult it was for that to come to the conclusion that it did, where the bombing and everything else, the scale and scope of what we saw ended, all the hostages were released, and we have relative peace right now for the most part, despite the things you're pointing to. That was very difficult. But this is not easy. Peace is a verb. It's not. It's an action. It's not a sentiment. Every single day will bring challenges. Every single day. We also have had instances, for example, over the last couple of weeks, where Hamas elements emerged from a tunnel, attached an explosive device to the side of a vehicle, and injured and almost killed Israeli soldiers. We still have this threat. We still have and see every single day Hamas openly taking steps to strengthen themselves within inside of those places in Gaza that they still control. We saw early on the atrocities they were committing in the streets against people as they were trying to show people how strong they were. So I don't think I'm standing here to tell you this is going to be easy. This is an hour-by-hour, day-by-day challenge. It's one of the reasons why we have stood up this center there in operating in Israel, in partnership as well with another cell that exists in a regional country. It's why every single day there are meetings among both intelligence, diplomatic, and military officials of multiple countries that help bring about this deal to manage this. And that's why it is so critical. It is so critical and so key that we move to complete this first phase, that we move to put in place the board of peace, get everybody agree to be a part of it, move to put in place this Palestinian technocratic organization so that they can begin to provide some governance structure, and move to put in place the stabilization force. That's the goal here, but it's not going to be easy. Every day will bring new challenges to that, and we recognize those challenges are coming from all sides.
Very quick follow-up there, but who's going to want to be a part of a stabilization force if Israel is effectively using Gaza as a free fire zone?
Well, these are the things that we're working through right now. That's why it didn't happen yesterday. That's why we didn't, I don't mean yesterday literally, that means why we're not there yet. This is the hard work of diplomacy and peacemaking. Peacemaking isn't just signing a piece of paper, it's actually complying with it. And compliance oftentimes requires, in many cases, in most cases, requires daily, constant follow-up and nurturing. So that is why we are in such a hurry, and I say as a priority, to get to this point where we have the stabilization force in place, overseen by the Board of Peace, and ultimately a Palestinian technocratic entity that can increase in its capability to provide governance. The stronger they are, the weaker Hamas will be in terms of threatening Israel. And I think the more security Israel should feel and the less need for some of these things to happen. But no one's claiming this is going to be easy. We have to work on this every single day. We have people in this building and deployed abroad. This is all they do. 24 hours a day, day after day, elements of the State Department, the Department of War, and all other agencies, including Jared and Steve and even myself, who talk or do something about. There isn't a day in the last, this was signed 2 months ago, that I haven't had to do something with regards to making progress on the phases of this ceasefire. Yes, ma'am. Right next.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Secretary.
sorry. I'm going to get to you guys. I'm coming. See, I'm going down the rows like this.
Thank you.
So right behind you, because I'm still in that row.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you for having the
Has
briefing.
anyone ever done this where they go like all the rows?
No.
You're going to look so good to your editors. All right, go ahead.
Caroline Lumetto with World News Group.
Several faith-based organizations have been calling on the administration to reopen the U.S. refugee admissions program, particularly for religious minorities facing persecution. That includes Afghanistan, Syria, Iran. Is it going to be a goal in 2026 to expand that program again beyond South Afrikaners?
Yeah, so here's the problem, okay? In the last 4 years, we had a flood of people enter this country through a variety of means. So that's what we confronted. We have to stop that. And we did. We've been successful. You see the border secured, the number of illegal entries has completely collapsed. And now we're facing a second challenge, and that is we've admitted a lot of people into the United States. And perhaps the overwhelming majority of them are not bad people and so forth. This is all true. But there are people, we know, okay, for a fact, that there are people in this country who got in through some form of vetting that was wholly insufficient. And we've seen tragic evidence of that very recently, including people.
Secretary Marco Rubio, thank you very much. But our actually main live message from our president, from our POTUS, has already started.
A couple of brand new shows opening, and I understand that. But I do want to say, and some people say, oh, you shouldn't say it. It sounds negative. To me, I think it sounds positive. The only reason our unemployment tucked up and went up to 4.5%, which it went up to 4.5%, which is quite a low number, but still, is because we are reducing the government workforce by numbers that have never been seen before. In other words, government jobs are way down. And as you know, we don't need 10 people to fill one job, which is what we had in government in many cases. So the government workforce, by numbers that have never been seen before, has been reduced very substantially, and it will continue to be reduced. 100% of our new jobs are in the private sector. So this is for the last number of months. Think of that, 100%. Are you shocked to hear that? That's the way to make America great again, what do you think, right? It's the only way. 100% of new jobs are in the private sector. And I could reduce unemployment to 2%, 1%, or practically zero by just hiring people into the federal government, even though those jobs are not necessary, which is what we had before. We had millions and millions of people having jobs that they never even showed up. So I wish that the media would report that the 4.5% is an amazing number. And again, if they don't report it, I guess maybe I'll just let some people go into the federal workforce. It'll look really wonderful. And what we're doing is the only way you can do it to make a country great. You can't have the government jobs. You have to have the private sector jobs. And these are among the biggest hires of private sector. So we have reduced the federal workforce by tremendous hundreds of thousands of people. And that reflects in unemployment, but that will be used up very quickly. And we've 100% of the new jobs, which, by the way, it's a record-setting number of jobs, too, is in the private sector. And I think that'll get even stronger when these buildings being built all over the country, of which they're building some, too, but AI and auto plants and everything else, they're being built all over the country. When that happens, your numbers will be even better. But I would like you to report it the way it is. We don't do the federal workforce jobs. We're reducing that very substantially. I'm thrilled to be joined by the leaders of 9 of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers, all very big names, celebrities in their own right, very, very powerful people. And they head some of the most admired companies anywhere in the world. It's a great group. To announce that they've agreed to offer many of their flagship drugs, really all of their flagship drugs, at heavily discounted, most favored nations prices. In other words, whatever the drug sells for over the world, in the world, whatever the lowest number is, if it's Germany, if it's in UK, anywhere, we will match that price. Right now, sometimes it's 10 times higher. We've been laughed at and scoffed at for years. In fact, I was going to do it in my first term, but unfortunately with the advent of COVID, as you would say, it was not, I don't think it was a very good time to be hitting up Spain, Italy, France, but now we're doing it. So the hardest thing to do was going to be to get a country to do it, because we would have a pill in New York that was for sale for $130, and you could buy it in Germany and France and Spain and someplace anyways. They set their own prices for $10. So we'd pay 10 or 13 times more, pay 5 times more, pay all different prices. Now, whatever the lowest price is. Now, the pharmaceutical companies were difficult, but they also love our country. They knew it was unfair. And they were great. I appreciate it. But the bigger problem was going to be the countries. How are you going to get the countries to do it? And we told them, if you don't do it, we're going to have to use tariffs, and we're going to charge you a 10% tariff, which is far more money than the money we're talking about. And they immediately agreed to do it. So we have all the foreign countries agreeing to do it. If we didn't have the use of tariffs, we would never be able to do this. But we used tariff, and they said, is it a threat? I said, yes, it is a threat. And they said, we will do it. And they dropped the price. So what's happening, because the world is bigger than the United States in terms of people, that same pill would go from $10 to $20 for them, which is an increase, but it wouldn't go to, midway. But it would go from $10 to $20. Ours would go from $130 to $20. So we dropped way down. They went up a little bit. And everyone knows it's the way it is. They, for years, would just say, no, as medicine got more expensive for us, it would stay. They said, nope, you can't sell it in this country. Let the United States pay. And we had other presidents, all of them, said, okay, we'll pay. So we were subsidizing the entire world. We're not doing it anymore. This is the biggest thing having to do with drugs in the history of the purchase of drugs. And I don't think the maybe press will treat it as a story. This is the biggest front page story that you'll ever see. This is a huge bearing too on the healthcare, because a big part of healthcare is drugs, pharmaceuticals, right, Oz? And this will have a tremendous impact on the reduction of healthcare. The biggest impact is going to be that the money should be paid not to the insurance companies, directly to the people, and the people will buy their own healthcare. So we're going to be working that. The problem is that the Democrats are very much controlled by the insurance companies that make all that money, but we're not going to let that happen. Starting next year, American drug prices will come down fast and furious, and will soon be among the lowest in the developed world. So in other words, whatever the lowest price for a certain drug, of which these companies make much of it, whatever the lowest price is, that price will come down to that price. So we will get the lowest price anywhere in the world. If they're lower in England than they are in Germany, we take the England price. As of today, 14 out of 17 largest pharmaceutical companies have now agreed. 14 out of 17. Oh, those three companies, they're in deep trouble. But actually, they've agreed, because I think those three companies are coming in at a different time next week. So they've agreed. Johnson & Johnson is one of them, right?
After the holidays.
Why? They couldn't do it faster?
No, we're going to be talking about Trump RX.
Oh, okay. Trump RX. Trump RX is doing well. As of today, 14 out of the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies, but they've all agreed, have now agreed to drastically lower drug prices for their American patients, for the American people and patients. This represents the greatest victory for patient affordability in the history of American healthcare by far, and every single American will benefit. So this is the biggest thing ever to happen on drug pricing and on healthcare. This will have a tremendous impact on healthcare itself. I want to thank Sanofi CEO Paul Hudson. Paul? Hi, Paul. I hope they have you in some order. I'll be checking.
Alphabetical, yes, but...
Okay, well, we'll do the best we can. Thank you, Paul. Great company, by the way. Novartis CEO Vas Narasimhan. Thank you very much, Vas. Great job. Genentech CEO Ashley Megaragri. Where are you, Ashley? How are you? Hi. Thank you very much. Great companies. Behringer Inc. Mine President Jean Michael Bors. John Michael, thank you very much. Gilead CEO Dan O'Day. Dan? Thank you, Dan. Great job. It's good company. Bristol Myers Squibb Executive Vice President Carrie Gallman. Carrie? Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. GSK CEO Emma Wormsley. Emma? Thank you very much, Emma. Great job. Merck CEO Rob Davis. Great company. Thank you. Great company. How long have you been CEO?
Almost 5 years.
Very good. You're doing a good job. And Amgen Executive Vice President and CFO Peter Griffith. Peter? Thank you, Peter, very much. Thank you very much. You okay? Fake news. We want you to be healthy. Are you all right? The camera's not okay, but she's okay. That's more important. We have good medicine for you. If you need some medicine, one of them can take good care of it. We're also joined by Secretaries Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., Howard Lutnick, Ambassador, and really some incredible ambassadors, Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and the FDA Commissioner, Marty McCary. They're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. Good job. For decades, Americans have been forced to pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs by far, not just a little bit. We were like a whipping post, the United States, and it's just been 4% of the world's population. We have 4% of the world's population, and consumers pay only 13% of all prescription drugs, yet pharmaceutical companies make 75% of their profits. Think of that. So we have 4% of the population, 13% of prescription drugs, and yet the people behind me, who are wonderful people, make 75% of their profits from the American customer. So they understood that better than anybody, that we have to do something. That's why I signed an executive order instructing my administration to do everything in its power to slash prescription drug prices for Americans while getting other countries to pay more. And we don't want more. We want just fair. We want to pay the same thing. They used to blame it, remember, on research and development. And I said, well, research and development for everybody. And everybody understood it. As a result, the United Kingdom's National Health Service agreed to pay the fair share for prescription drugs for the first time in 26 years. And we expect other countries in Europe will do the same. And if they don't, we're going to put tariffs on them, and we'll get the same amount of money, plus we'll take a nice return on the money. We signed historic agreements with Pfizer, Eli Lilly, AstraZeneca, Novo Nordisk, and EMD, Serrano, to reduce prices by 300, 400, 500, 600, and even 700%, and sometimes even more than that. I remember when I had a news conference in my first term, I was the first president that reduced prices from the beginning of my term to a year, from January to December, 0.25%. And I thought it was the greatest thing, because it's the first one in 28 years. Now we're talking about numbers that are so incredible. 0.25%. Think of that. I was proud of it, because it hadn't happened in 28 where drug prices went down. Well, now you're going to see numbers that nobody would believe possible. Think of that. 500, 600, 700, 800%. Today we're building on these accomplishments. The companies assembled in this room have agreed to offer all of their drugs to Medicaid and most favored nations pricing. You're going to get most favored nations pricing, meaning they're going to pay our country the lowest price paid anywhere in the world. And they will list their most popular drugs on TrumpRx.gov. TrumpRx.gov. And I didn't name it that. Somebody named it that. And I guess they assumed that was, did you name it, Oz? Or Bobby name it?
We all named it together.
Okay, well, I'm honored to have the name. And so far that's turned out, because the numbers are so incredible. It's an honor. And you're going to get massive discounts to all consumers. So massive discounts will be not even offered. It's just going to be a fact. All consumers will get massive discounts. That's TrumpRx.gov. Every new drug produced by these companies in the future will permanently be offered to American patients at most favored nation prices. You know, people used to talk about that for years, but nobody ever did anything about it. No other president did. And it wasn't easy, but it worked out great, and I'm so proud of the people behind me. As an example of the price reductions we have secured through these new agreements, Santa Fe will cut the cost of its blood thinner, Plavix, from $750 to less than $16. Wow. Where's Santa Fe? Where are you? What? That's incredible, huh? Could have gone to $17, maybe. That's amazing. And you're going to do tremendous business. You're going to do much more business. So that's coming from $750. Think of that, $750. And that's the number one blood thinner. I don't want to know about that. I take an aspirin. To less than $16. Think of that. Bristol Myers Squibb, a great company, both great companies, will cut the price of HIV medication, Rayurtaz, from nearly $1,500, $1,500 to $217. And it will cut the cost of hepatitis B medication, Baraclude, from $1,400 to $413. Gilead will cut the hepatitis C medication, Epclusa, from nearly $25,000 to less than $2,500. And all prices are like that because we're bringing them down to the world's lowest price, everything. And these people really are pioneers. What they're doing is so great. And in the end, they're going to do much more business, and it's. I think it's going to even out for them as a company. The countries will have to pay more, but even for them, because of the fact that the world is quite a bit bigger, it won't be very severe, I hope. I also want to thank these companies and their incredible executives for their generous contribution to American national security, because it's really what it is. It's, to a large extent, national security in addition. You can't continue to pay 13, 14 times more than other countries and think you're going to have security. Collectively, they will invest over $150 billion to build up domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing in America. They're going to be, because of tariffs, they're coming in, and I think because of the love of our country, and maybe because of the November 5th election, but because of tariffs, they're going to be coming in. They're building already. Just about all of them have started. They're building their plants in all states all over the country, and they're building incredible pharmaceutical plants. We're going to have close to 100% of our pharmaceuticals in a very short period of time made in the USA. As part of these agreements, Merck will also donate 3.5 tons of antibacterials to be placed in America's strategic reserve. Thank you very much. GSX will donate over 200 pounds of ingredients to make rescue inhalers, which is a big deal, and Bristol Myers Squibb will donate 6.5 tons of blood thinners. We appreciate it. Such amazing companies. Every president for a generation has promised to reduce drug prices, but they were talking about a little bit like that. I am the only one of them to ever even think in terms of favored nations, and that's what this is. Favored nations. It's called most favored nation. We are now a most favored nation. I want to thank the leaders in the room, and I also want to thank the leaders of all of the countries that had to pay a little more so that we were treated fairly. I really do. I want to thank the leaders of countries. And they knew the alternative was not much of an alternative, because if they didn't do it, we were going to charge them tariffs, and the tariffs would have been much more severe than what they did. But they did do it as soon as they realized about the tariffs. Then they did it very easily. No, they're very good people. Let's start with Amgen's Executive Vice President, who I already introduced, and I introduced the people here. So I'd like to ask Bobby and Oz to say a few words. And Also, I'd like to ask if anybody would like to speak on behalf of your company, or just say how great this country is doing. And you're all building tremendous facilities now in the United States instead of other countries that we all know about. But if you'd like to say something. So, Oz, do you want to start? And Bobby?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Mr. President, he gets taller with time here. Mr. President, each of the 9 CEOs will speak very briefly about what they have done, because it is a patriotic effort. This is affordability in action. We talk about it in abstract, but this is not an abstract concept. This is a very concrete, tangible, personal reality, because we've got moms with sick children who cannot afford their medications. Working families cannot make ends meet. Seniors on fixed income. We have 80 million people who have to pay more than $100 a month for their prescriptions. They just can't keep up. So this is a hardcore approach to this, driven by a bold leader who's taken bold action. With that bold action, we've now created a standard for the industry. The 9 leaders behind us run the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. They're joining 5 other companies that have been through this White House process over the last 2 months. I want to make sure you appreciate that it doesn't happen with just the people in the room. They're wonderful individuals: Chris Klump, Inma Hernandez, John Brooks, Theo Merkel, Corey, Heidi. A lot of folks work their tails off to make this happen, and that's why we've gotten to the finish line. The prices that President Trump left to the next administration on pharmaceuticals have gone up 25% until the president took office. We are reversing that trend and making sure that Americans can afford to get the life-saving solutions. Because if these brilliant innovators create solutions to cancer and hypertension, hepatitis, and a bunch of other viruses, illnesses that have been lethal throughout human history, but you can't afford them, then we're not treating you fairly. And that's why what the president has done is so critically important. He mentioned quickly the amount of money that they've contributed towards our strategic stockpile and to building in this country. But fundamentally, the health of the American people will benefit because this president took bold action. And from my personal position, I couldn't do anything I do without Secretary Kennedy, who just does not take no for an answer and will call me even more than the president does to make sure things happen right. Mr. Secretary. Even more.
That's not nice.
I don't think that's true. I think we got a lot of calls from the president, and at one point in this negotiation, we both stopped answering our phones late at night because we couldn't take it anymore. But I want to thank you, Mr. President, for doing this. President Trump, when he was up here a moment ago, talked about how historic this is and how every one of the news outlets in here ought to have World War III-size headlines about this. And I was reminded about how astonishing this achievement is. A couple of days ago, when one of my sons, 29 years old, very, very left-wing Democrat, and disagrees with a lot of the policies of this administration, he called me and he said, "Dad, I want to tell you how proud I am about this. This is the best achievement that could happen to our country." This is something Bernie Sanders has been clamoring for 25 years. Elizabeth Warren has been clamoring for. Joe Biden promised the American people. President Obama, President Clinton all promised to do this for the American people. All of them expressed their outrage, their indignation that we are paying 1/10 in some cases the price of drugs that they're selling in Europe. We developed them here. We manufactured some of them in New Jersey. We were paying $1,300 for a drug manufactured in New Jersey. The same drug manufactured in the same plant was being sold for $88 in London. And everybody recognized how unfair this was. We were paying for all the innovation in this country. And yet, the rest of the world was free riding on it. And President Trump told me and Dr. Oz at the beginning of this term, this is what I want you to do. And he leaned on us. I think both of us were very skeptical at that point that it could be done. But I would say this is a miracle. And I'm very grateful to all the CEOs who saw the sense in this, who understood the injustice and the unsustainability of the system, and who put public health, and particularly the public health of Americans, ahead of some of their other priorities. And all of them came to the table, and President Trump asked us to do three things. One, to deliver the lowest prices in the world and make this affordable for Americans. Number two, to do it in a way that we would not hurt innovation, that we would keep America as the incubator and the dominating force in innovation around the world. And three, to bring drug manufacturing home to this country. I can tell you by the end of this term, 95% of the drugs we will have MFN. In other words, Americans will be paying the lowest price in the world for 95% of the drugs. You talk about affordability, people are talking about affordability. Nobody has done anything for affordability greater than this. So I want to thank you, President Trump, for your leadership, for your vision, and for your relentless harassment of us to make sure this all got done. And I really want to just thank all of the CEOs, all these companies, for coming to the table in good faith, working out a very, very pragmatic agreement that allows them to continue to do the innovation that is going to save lives and alleviate suffering around the world, and do it in a way that is more fair to the American people. Thank you.
So we're going to, Howard first.
So this is an example of what President Trump does. It's the entire administration, the whole government working together. Bobby and I met at the beginning of the administration of how we could work together to bring drug prices down, as the president instructed, and bring manufacturing home. So they've said they're going to have 95% of the drugs be at the lowest price in the world. And when we walked in, and the president walked in, we were making about 16% of our drugs were being made in America, right? And we are having hundreds, the people behind us are committed hundreds of billions of dollars to bring their manufacturing here and bring their research here. And that employs Americans and keeps our drugs produced safely. You want to know when you take that drug is made in America, overseen by the FDA, and it is safe. So the president not only is driving prices down, he's doing a 1-2 punch of bringing production here. And the third thing he's doing is when you take that drug, you know it was made in America, protected by Americans, and it's safe. And I can't be more proud. I think this is the most impressive thing I've ever seen, because none of you, and maybe even none of us, thought this was possible. Only President Trump, he knew it, he drove it, and he has delivered it here today. And I can't be more proud to be standing next to him, because this is delivering for America.
Thank you. Very good. We'll start with Amgen. It is alphabetical.
If you'd like to say something, feel free to do that.
They're all going to say something short, so go ahead.
Good. Would you go ahead?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
To the podium.
To the podium. Here we go. We're going to move it back up, get taller again. Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to work with you to improve the affordability of medicines for American patients. Amgen recently launched Amgen Now, a direct-to-patient option for Repatha that cuts out PBM middlemen and significantly improves affordability for people who are uninsured, facing high out-of-pocket costs, or paying on their own. Repatha will also soon be added to TrumpRx.com. A U.S.-based pioneer for more than 4 decades, we've invested more than $40 billion in U.S. research and manufacturing since 2018, supported by pro-innovation policies that you've championed. Thank you again, Mr. President. We look forward to continuing to work together to deliver meaningful benefits and innovation for U.S. patients.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jean-Michel Boers from Boehringer Ingelheim. It's a true honor to be here for an agreement that we believe will make a true difference for American patients. For 140 years, Boehringer Ingelheim, a family-owned company, has been committed to improving health and outcomes to save lives of patients. With today's agreement, we believe that we have actually struck the delicate balance that there is to protect America's leadership in research and innovation, and at the same time ensure that patients pay a fair price for their medicines. So from rare diseases in oncology or pulmonary fibrosis, where we do research into chronic diseases, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, obesity maybe in the future. I will go quick. We will continue to work for the American patients. We are onshoring manufacturing to the US to very rapidly, within the time of this administration, have the majority of our products produced in the US. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bristol Myers Squibb is an American company that for more than 6,500 years has been protecting and extending American lives. And today I'll make two very brief announcements. One, we are very proud to announce that we will provide Eliquis, our #1 prescribed medicine, to Medicaid for free. We're also answering the administration's calls, as the president said, to shore up the national medicine reserves by donating more than 6.5 tons of Eliquis. These actions build on BMS's commitment to invest $40 billion in the U.S. in research and development and manufacturing. And these investments reflect our enduring commitment to work with the administration to improve patient lives. So thank you. Thank you.
It's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for shining a light on the importance of our innovation and getting all countries to pay for this innovation. I'm proud to represent Genentech, America's first biotech company. We are offering our flu medicine, which is very important this year given the severity of the flu, Xofluza, for $50 direct to patients, and that's a 70% price reduction. And that also will be available on TrumpRx. We're also very proud of our $50 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing and new research labs. Our new facility in North Carolina will bring 11,000 jobs to America. These are important steps forward for Americans and also for patients. Thank you very much.
I saw your rendering is beautiful, what you're building. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, to you and the administration. I think this objective of achieving the commitment to affordability and future innovation is extraordinary. And let me just say that the company I represent, Gilead Sciences, the scientists reach for cures every day. In fact, they've come up with medicines that have cured both certain forms of hepatitis and also certain forms of blood cancer. And we just recently launched a new medicine that's only given twice a year to prevent HIV. And we're working with Secretary Kennedy and his entire team, as well as the State Department, as a part of your ex-US strategy to support ending the epidemic really during your term. And so we look forward to working with you on that. I've never been more optimistic about the innovation that exists across these companies and the impact this can have on America's health and economy. Thank you very much.
Well with HIV.
Yeah, it literally prevents HIV almost 100% given twice a year. And so the America First State Department strategy, we've partnered with them, and we're also partnering with Secretary Kennedy and his team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
GSK cares deeply about improving the affordability of medicines, which is why today we're announcing for the 40 million Americans who live with asthma or COPD, we're going to be significantly lowering the cost of the medicines they rely on to breathe more easily every day. We're going to be going direct on 8 of our core medicines with deep discounts, and we're investing in American health security by donating the ingredients that go into rescue inhalers like this one so that people can access them when they need them. This triple win is on top of our commitment to invest $30 billion in American manufacturing, American research, American technology, and American talent. And all of this to do the right thing for American patients, whether that's John in North Carolina, who says he can now visit with his granddaughters without worrying whether will have to struggle for breath, or Marsha in Kentucky, who says if her asthma inhaler is cheaper, she can properly celebrate with her family this holidays. Mr. President, thank you so much for your ambition for American patients and for the partnership of all of your teams so we get ahead of disease together.
Thank you very much. Very much. Great company.
Mr. President, as the others have said, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. I reflect on your goal of driving affordability and access to Americans, but equally getting prices up outside the United States, and we're 100% supportive of your actions. As many of the colleagues have talked about, I represent Merck, and we also are looking to what we can do on TrumpRx.gov. In addition to bringing in our diabetes drugs, one of the things I just wanted to highlight, we have a novel oral cardiovascular drug, which has an opportunity to meaningfully lower LDL and really still go after what is the leading cause of death in the United States, which is cardiovascular disease, kills 1 million people in the United States annually. And thanks to TrumpRx.com, you will not only be able to get this pill and have an easy-to-take pill, but it'll be easy to get and it'll be affordable. So I appreciate your leadership and look forward to continuing to partner with you. Thank you.
Great company. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, my name is Vas Narasimhan, CEO of Novartis. Novartis is a 250-year-old company, and today we're the global leader in bringing advanced technologies to patients in the United States around the world, technologies like radioligand therapies and cell and gene therapies. What I want to highlight to you is we're bringing the manufacturing of these technologies to the United States now. We've committed to build 9 new facilities. 7 of them we already have a groundbreaking for. Dr. Makari was with me in North Carolina. We were opening up 4 new plants. Our plan is to scale manufacturing here and ensure all our critical medicines, including these most advanced technologies, are made here in the United States for U.S. patients.
Thank you very much.
So first of all, thank you, Mr. President. I think you've convened on an extremely important subject and made more progress than perhaps anybody ever thought was frankly possible. For Sanofi, this is another day to reaffirm our commitment to patients, our unwavering support to trying to do the right thing to help patients get better outcomes. Put simply, affordability has been at the heart of that for a very long time. Having concluded this contract with the President and the administration, we find ourselves able, as a joint effort, to go further than we ever thought was possible. And that's kudos to you and for what you have done. Improving affordability and preserving innovation and rewarding innovation is a very difficult balance to take. I think we feel the negotiations and the conversations have had the patient at the center throughout the entire time, as difficult as it may have been on occasions. I think what many can learn from the way this was handled, put simply, is that when you bring industry and you bring government together with the spirit of doing the right thing for patients, it is almost limitless what can be achieved. So on behalf of Sanofi, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, and the team for what has been simply an incredible amount of progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So, as I watch, these are the greatest business leaders, and they're beyond that. Many are doctors, and they ended up running the biggest businesses in the country. But you've done so much, and you made it a lot easier than we thought it would be. You were just, you understood to do the right thing. And as I was watching, and I know all of them, not personally, a couple of them personally, but I know them all through reading lots of business magazines and other magazines and newspapers. These are highly respected people. And I said to myself, look at what they've done. They've done something that, and as you said, something that you never thought was possible to get done. Most people thought for the United States to have favored nations where we have the lowest drug price in the world is unthinkable. And I said to myself, we have a thing called the Unaffordable Care Act. It's unaffordable because the insurance companies make so much money, and the insurance companies totally control the Democrats. And I said to myself, standing watching these great leaders, and we have 4 other leaders coming in, Johnson & Johnson and 4 other very big companies, actually, very great companies. They've all agreed, and they'll be coming in next week, and we appreciate them too. But they've agreed to the same thing, lowest price anywhere in the world. I said, I think that the insurance companies, we should have a meeting and we should talk to them. Because I would say that maybe with one talk, they would be willing to cut their prices by 50, 60, or 70%. They've made a fortune. They've had stock prices that have gone up 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and even 18. Think of this. They went up 1,800%. One of them went up numbers that nobody's ever seen before. There's a nice return, not a 2%, an 1,800% return. One went up more than that. Therefore, there's a lot of fat that can be cut. And I'd like to announce here, this is just an idea that I had standing here, watching these great leaders saying that we're going to have the lowest prices anywhere in the world, something that nobody would have thought possible. And they're going to come out great. But also donating incredible different medications, medications that are world-famous medications that one or another of them make, and donating them in some cases for free or very, very low prices. And I said, I'll bet you if I called a meeting of the insurance companies, the companies that are involved with healthcare costs, I would be willing to bet, I think, that they would reduce their prices very, very substantially. We could have fair health care in the country. Now, my initial thought, and this is what I want to do as of right now, this is the alternative, is that all of the billions and billions, ultimately trillions and trillions of dollars that's paid to these companies, we're going to pay directly to the people. But there's another way of doing it, and that's getting the insurance companies to ease up and to cut their pricing way, way down and stay part of the system. So I'm going to call a meeting. It could be in Florida this coming week, or it could be back in the White House the first week, not the second or third week. I'm going to call a meeting of the big insurance companies that have gotten so rich by receiving money and really much far, far more money than they're entitled to.
Let's go.
And I have a feeling maybe if they would act like these incredible, brilliant, responsible citizens behind me, people that love our country, and they love the world. I mean, frankly, these are international companies for the most part. I'm going to call a meeting of the insurance companies. I'm going to see if they get their price down, to put it very bluntly. And I think that is a very big statement. And what happened here is the biggest statement of all, because nobody thought a thing like this was possible. And I think based on that, I won't even take questions today, because there's no way I can take questions that are anywhere comparable to what you just witnessed. You just witnessed drug prices that will go down at levels never thought even possible, Marty, right? Never thought even possible. And I think that the second biggest part of this meeting is going to be the fact that I'm going to call in the insurance companies that are making so much money, and they have to make less, a lot less.
Yeah.
And maybe we can have reasonable health care without having to cut them out and let it all go awry. So we're going to be calling a meeting. It'll be either in Florida or it'll be here the first week. And I'd prefer not talking and asking questions, only for the reason that this is such a big announcement, meaning what these people have said and what the other four companies are going to say, which is exactly the same thing, that I really don't want to soil it up by asking questions, even questions that are very fair questions that I'd love to answer. So I think we have to just stop right here. I really appreciate the fact that these companies came here. These, again, a lot of the media is not aware, not really cognizant of the people standing behind me. These are the biggest executives in the world. And what they're doing today is monumental. And I want to stand it on that. And I'll see you later if you'd like. But I don't want to be asking questions having to do with anything else. I do want you to remember what I said about the 4.5%. We took 100% of the new workers was in the private sector, and we've cut tremendous numbers of government jobs. And that's why, if you look at our numbers, they're so good. Also, more than, I don't know if you've read this, came out a week ago, more than 50% of our trade deficit was cut. We cut it more than 50% in a period of a few months. Nobody thought any of these things were possible. Thank you very much, everybody.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I am so stoked with that last statement, because one of the things that I've been saying, it's, hey, listen, they keep forgetting about these deals that President Donald Trump is doing for drug prices, which, yes, they were charging us over 800% of what the actual drug cost to other countries. That's why the drug prices are dropping 3, 5, 6, 800%. Not just that, but you just heard it. What's going to be given free to Medicaid? That's right. All you libtards in here that just come here to hate, hey, that's your prerogative. But we are going to celebrate. And the one thing that I was missing, because I know that healthcare is expensive, and I know that insurance companies are being abused, and I know that there is companies, healthcare companies, that are making bank off our, 2,000% profit. And the libtards don't know how to get rid of the Obamacare. All they complain and bitch and whine about is Obamacare. Oh my God, the subsidies. You created that problem. Democrats created that problem. They keep telling you over there, tax the rich, they are taking your money, our money. Ridiculous. So I am stoked that he is going to go head to head with these companies and say, what's up? You either put up or get out. That's it. That's all we need. He needs to take control. Why can't Congress do that? Why can't they actually make a real good deal for America? You know what all Democrats have done? The Green New Deal. Wasted, scam, trillions of dollars wasted. And the American Democrats, yeah, that's a great deal. And they wonder why the economy is crap. Bruh. Look at Victor. He hasn't done a thing. What have you done? What have the Democrats done for the safety, for the national security of our country? What have Democrats done? Besides take the copy from the Venezuela's book of cheating on the elections, besides bundling their pockets with money from Colombia, from Chile, from Venezuela, from Honduras, from Nicaragua, and Mexico, what else have the Democrats done? Nothing. And yet, this old man that be passing out of the meetings now because he doesn't get enough sleep, because he works too damn much, he doesn't get any credit. But let me go ahead and tell you what Democrats have done. Here you go. This is for you, Earshot. Yeah, that's right, JC. I have an accent. Eat your heart out. This is what Democrats have done for us. They opened up the borders. They allowed millions of illegal immigrants to come here, creating inflation, making affordability destroyed. We cannot afford anything on here because of the Democrats' open border policy. Their sanctuary cities put innocent citizens at risk because they harbor, they protect all the hardcore criminals that are killing our American children, teenagers, and adults, even some law enforcement. That's what the Democrats have done. You know what else the Democrats have done? They created the Obama healthcare that I have never been able to afford. Why is it that I cannot afford the Obama healthcare, which is supposed to be the most affordable? Why is that? Why is it that Democrats don't give a shit when the country is going down the drain? They shut down the government. They don't care if people are not getting snapped. They don't care if the military doesn't get help. They don't care that our enemies and our opponents are out there watching how we are eating, destroying each other from within. Maybe some of you are actually libtards. Maybe some of you are from another country just going out from conservative to conservative podcasts, talking all this shit about people when you know that this country is going to be better off with us being in power, with President Trump being the president. That's right. You know what else you Democrats have done? We've given $196 billion to Ukraine for free. Nothing in return. That's what libtards have done. You know what else you've done? You have destroyed the economy in this country. You have given away benefits from the American citizens to illegal immigrants. That's what you've done to this country. You have given hundreds of billions of dollars to Somalia, $8 billion fraud right here in America. They call themselves American Somalis only when they can benefit from us. But whenever it comes to swearing loyalty and oath to the United States of America, its people and its government, they don't do it. Their oath and their loyalty belongs in Somalia. Why is that? Why is it that they're getting $4,500 just for being pregnant? Where do you think that money goes? They own Section 8. They're taking care of SNAPs and the health care for free. 42% of them. 42% of Somalis. That's what Democrats fight for. You know what else Democrats fight for? For a gangbanger from El Salvador. They fly all the way from Maryland for an illegal immigrant, all the way down to El Salvador, try to make a ridicule of American people, especially our president, come back over here, smear a lie to the people, and then tell the legacy media, run on this leaked information, and they call him a Maryland man. They put law-abiding citizens in jail, and then they let free the actual criminals destroying this country. That's what Democrats have done. They have been stealing billions and billions of dollars from the taxpayers. They've been paying themselves. And all these libtards can do is come over here and hate President Donald Trump from trying to do the best that he can, humanly possible, to be able to protect this country, to be able to free us, to be able to make us great. That is all they can do. Hate, hate, hate. They come in here and give all this negativity in the chat, and they have no solutions. Their solutions, let me take some more money from the rich because I am such a loser. I am so dependent on the rich people. I cannot go to work. I have too much anxiety. Oh, depression is destroying my life. I can't work with that. Oh, no, that job is too hard. Let the illegal Mexicans do it. They're the ones that can pick the vegetables and the fruits and the cotton, said Jasmine Crockett. No more black people picking cotton. We need the legal immigrants to do that for us. And people don't even know what that means. Please. Please. All I know is I am hungry. And it is time for me to go get some tacos. I want to thank every single one of you guys for being in here with me today. Love you, my patrons. Thank you for renewing the membership. For those who cannot become members, do not worry about it. I just need your love, respect, and positivity on this chat. I thank you guys so much for everything that you do, guys. I am hoping that you're having some great holidays. Don't forget, President Donald Trump has signed an executive order. You get Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the next day after Christmas Day is a federal holiday. So if you work in the federal government, you are getting an extra couple days off paid. Be blessed. God bless you, your family, and the great US of A. Maybe I will see you tonight, and we're going to have a blast. So, libtards, make sure you bring your energy game back, because I'm going to tell you, once I got my coffee maker, my real coffee, Robert, and my 2 new suits, I am going to be pumped and psyched. Later.